10 minutes warm-up left.
Good morning and welcome to day number 5 of the IBSA Blind Football European Championships 2017. Our first match on another action-packed day, 4 games in a day, and this one is Georgia against Russia. So runners-up from Hereford in 2015. They've already beaten Turkey in their opening game, a 0-0 draw against Spain. How will Russia fare in their third outing in this tournament? My name's Alan Mart. Alongside me is Peter Selby, one of our match commentators. Rio 2016, Pete, they didn't have Russia in that event. They were runners-up last time out, already beaten the holders. Are they a real contender this time around?
Oh, definitely. I mean, you beat Turkey, who are the holders, in a revenge match first up, and then you draw against a very strong Spanish side. yes, they're playing Georgia today, so I expect a really convincing win, but they definitely are contenders. Very strong team, probably the most physical team out there. The game against Turkey, I went down pitch side just before the end, and a real physical encounter, and of course a bit of a revenge mission there. So they've got the two perceived easier games in the group now. We've got Georgia and then Belgium last up tomorrow. I can only see one victory here, and that's for Russia, and by a convincing margin. And I'll be surprised if they don't make plenty of changes, maybe at half-time, once they're possibly 2, 3 or even 4 goals up.
Not many people are delighted with the 0-0 draw, but we actually thought Russia might be, because they've got that victory over Turkey, knowing that Spain have still got the champions to play. I think Russia will be delighted with that 0-0 scoreline. Let's have a look at the league table and see how that takes them. Turkey do indeed lead at the moment. As you say, Russia here really should take a victory, and it should be about how many goals they scored. But they're not the most prolific goal scorers.
No, they're not, but I expect them to beat Georgia. If they do, they will then go top, and then 3 points against Belgium will see them through to the semi-finals. They've not lost so far. And yes, you are right that they don't possess maybe the firepower of other sides, but I don't think that will come into play today. It might do later on in the tournament when they play against the likes of possibly Germany or even a very impressive England side. But I think for today, it's just going to be a convincing win, and maybe they might even change a few tactics. Instead of being very solid at the back, they maybe play a few people further up top.
So let's take a look at some of the issues that Georgia have been having defensively. Plenty of goals going in. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. Georgia shipping plenty against Spain in that first outing, and it's not just goals they're conceding, it's discipline as well that they're having an issue with.
Yeah, they started well against Spain. You can see 15 minutes gone in the first half before the first goal was scored. Spain, very solid team as well, one of only 2 here who went to Rio along with Turkey. And it took them until 15 minutes, and the same can be said for Georgia's second game against Belgium. Again, it took until just before half-time for the deadlock to be broken, but they do concede plenty of fouls, do the Georgians, and that's cost them dear. They've had players suspended. Bashashvili, for example, he was suspended after 2 yellow cards. He's actually playing in this game because when he was taken off in their previous match, when they were beaten 9-2 by Turkey, he only received 5 personal fouls, so he was taken out of the game, but he's eligible to play. They do have injury problems because of the lack of players. They had 3 games in 3 days, and now they're missing Marglashvili, who is up there with their best player in the team. He's out with a swollen ankle, so they will be struggling today. They haven't got any players on the bench.
Okay, so nobody on the bench for Georgia to change the impact. As you said, Basilashvili has been their danger player, but he's also been the player that's probably the most ill-disciplined of them as well. He just seems to maraud around the field, and that seems to cause him to get himself in situations where he is being yellow carded, or indeed, as we saw in the opening game, a red card. We'll take a look at some highlights of the Russia-Turkey game now, and this was for Russia a dream start.
Yes, a really good set play there, where many people so far in this tournament have been striking from free kicks, just moving it to the right possibly and then taking a shot. But no, Russia, what they did nicely is moving it over a bit further to the right, away from the wall, and then striking crisply into the back of the net. So basically getting a clean shot on goal, going back across goal. And you mentioned earlier they've don't employ the most attacking tactics, and I think that will change today. But yeah, they're up against it. You mentioned Basilashvili. He's yet actually to complete a game in this tournament. He's either been sent off for 2 yellow cards, all those 5 personal fouls, but he's undoubtedly a very talented player and definitely one to look out for. He's undoubtedly talented, possesses a lot of skill, and he's very quick as well. But he's quick in terms of attacking, and he's quick in terms of getting into the tackle as well, and that is mainly his problem.
Okay, so that's Satay scoring for Turkey, something he's not having an issue with during these championships at all. And we'll take a look at the top goal scorers in a couple of moments, and you'll find that Hassan Satay is top of that list. 7 goals in just 1 game yesterday. He now has 10 for the tournament. Paulo Yobo for Italy in action later on today against England, of course. And Antonio Martin has 4, and a whole raft on 3 and 2, including Roy Turnham, who got 3 yesterday for England.
Yeah, it just shows you the strength of the English side. When you look there, you can see Brandon Coleman, Dan English and Robin Williams and Roy Turnham all on 3 goals. So sharing the goals around shows you the strength of their first team, and also the bench. The likes of Robin Williams and Roy Turnham have not started for England as yet, and obviously rolling substitutes can happen in blind football. You're allowed 6 per half, so it's not the end of the world if you're actually on the bench. It can be a tactic employed. Maybe see how things go and then bring players on later on if teams are fading, and I do expect one team to fade today, and that's the Georgians. They've played every day so far, apart from the opening game on day 1, which was obviously carried on to day 2 because of the thunder and lightning we had on day 1. So they'll be tired. They haven't got any substitutes. So even if Russia are only maybe 1 or 2 goals up, maybe at half time, I think the floodgates might open later on in the second half.
Okay, we'll discuss this a little bit more later on, and we'll even be interviewing her later as well. But our match here will have its very first female referee of an international tournament in blind football. So Joanna is out there on the field. I spoke to her a little bit earlier on, slightly nervous. She's been part of the team on the bench side of things for the officials, but she's going to get her chance to be the first ever female referee. IBSA over the last 5 years have done series projects, a series of projects funded by UEFA, and this last 12 months has been about the inclusion of women in the sport, not only players but officials as well. There was a coaching course held in Vienna earlier on in the year. It was attended by Joanna herself. You can just see her on the far side of the pitch, just checking with some of the players, goggles and officials. She will become the first female referee at an international tournament, and that is not just progression for females within the sport, it's just the blind sport is getting bigger and bigger all the time here, Pete. Last night on the game between England and France, on Facebook alone was viewed 1.2 million times. That's absolutely staggering, and a fantastic achievement, not just for the people that have brought that to you guys, but to everybody involved in the sport and the promotion of the sport. It's a wonderful achievement.
It's a wonderful achievement. We've had our first female player as well playing in an international tournament for Belgium. It's actually quite common that female players represent clubs throughout Europe, but on the international stage it's groundbreaking. It's fantastic to see, and long may it continue, and more representing countries, and maybe having winners' medals as well.
Okay, so So shots on target now then, per team. England got off to a 43 shots in that opening game, which was just astronomical. And that was one of Georgia's issues, in the Romania's issues, in the early stages. England were on fire in that opening game. Another 20 against France. Harder to create those chances, and yet scored 1 more goal. 63 for them in total over their first 2 games. Germany, I think 20, 23 and 25. So they're getting better, and they're hitting more shots on target. That game, in the second game, 23 shots, and still not managing a victory against Italy. Only managed 14 in the game, but as you said, Paulie Yobo, he was just, it's been a special time. France, though, beating Germany as well. It's real tight groups here.
Yeah, you can see Russia way down in the list in terms of shots on target, but you have to put into account that they're playing against Turkey and Spain, 2 of the top sides, not just in Group B, but in this tournament. So I'd imagine that will increase dramatically against Georgia, who had 20 shots in their previous game against Turkey. Yes, they lost 9-2, but it shows you that do possess a number of players who can get forward and cause problems for the opposition. Unfortunately, one of those 2 players, Maglashvili, is not playing today with that swollen ankle, but I'll expect them to still have a number of opportunities, and I don't think that they won't go goalless. I think they will score in this game.
So it's Group B that we're going to concentrate on this morning, but Group A on the standings is there for you now. England, Germany, Italy, France, Romania. It's just a big group. You read those 4 names out at the top. It's a huge group in any form of football, and England and Germany and Italy and France are in the mix for places in the semi-finals. But it's Group B we're concentrating on this morning. The players are gathering themselves in the tunnel for this opening game of day number 5. They're not on their way out just yet. Georgia versus Russia is what we've got coming up. Belgium against Spain a little bit later on as well. Should Russia win this, it really puts a mix on the group. Peter's running across. We've got history being made within the sport. one of these two teams will be looking to pick up a victory here. The chances are you'll be seeing goals galore from Russia. Can Georgia throw us a surprise here in the IBSA Blind Football European Championships of 2017? Let's cross over to our commentators, Jonathan Bell and Peter Selby.
Thank you very much, Alan. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Berlin for Game 1 on Day 5 of the IBSA Blind Football European Championships 2017. Fantastic for you to be in my company today. Alongside me is Peter Selby as well. Very much looking forward to this game between Georgia and the red shirts with the white sleeves, red shorts and red socks, facing a Russia side unbeaten so far in these championships in their white shirts with a collar, white shorts and white socks as well. Both teams stand either side of the halfway line with their coach and trainer either side of them, ready and waiting for the two national anthems to be sung here in what is a very overcast day here in Berlin, pretty breezy as well. It's time now for both sets of players to warm their lungs up as the respective national anthems will be sung out, starting with Russia. So, interesting team news coming into this one as well. We will look at the two starting lineups now, starting with the lineup of Georgia, who are fortunate to be able to field 5 players coming into this one. They have their goalkeeper, Irakli Mandaria, in goal. No reserve goalkeeper on the bench, no one on the bench at all. Georgi Bashashvili, the number 6, very tenacious, and he can be a bit of a live wire as well. Sometimes a loose cannon. He's already served 1 suspension in this tournament. He captains the team today. Out of the team is Bachana Margvelashvili due to a swollen ankle. Replacing him is number 11, Alexander Shakarashvili. As for Russia, they have plenty of players to choose from. The luxury of a 5-man bench. Anton Yakovlev starts in goal for them. Alexei Loktinov, an absolute man-mountain at the back, captains the Russians once again. And up front, Denis Egorov, the number 7, alongside Avenji Ivanov, the number 9. Also today marks the first game in an international tournament where we have a female referee. That just being announced to the crowd as well here in Berlin, who have slowly come into this stadium on this Tuesday morning here in the German capital. Very good morning to you, wherever you are watching or listening from around the world. I'm Jonathan Bell, and Pete Selby is alongside me as well. And Pete, fantastic that already this week we've had the first female player for Belgium, and now we've got our first female referee in this tournament.
Yes, I was just talking to Alan just before the game regarding that. Yeah, it's quite common to have female players alongside male players on club level when it comes to blind football, but on the international stage, it's not happened before, and now we have our first female official, and pretty sure there'll be many people out there viewing this live stream saying, I can do that. And if you think that, then get involved.
Interesting thing I found out this morning as well, Pete, the reason Russia weren't at the Paralympic Games in 2016, they lost on the toss of a coin to Spain. Quite literally, that was the case. Spain and Russia ended the tournament in 2015 in Hereford with the same points, the same goals scored, the same goals against, and also the same head-to-head record as well. And the organisers flipped a coin in an organising room, and Russia lost out. But of course they are competing to get to the World Cup next year completely outright by getting into the semi-finals of these championships. A reminder, of course, if you get into the semi-finals, then you do indeed qualify for the World Cup in Madrid next year automatically. Spain will be there as the host nation, and they have already drawn with the Russians in what has been tipped, Pete, as the group of death.
Yeah, it's called the group of death by the England manager John Pugh. So it will be Georgia in the red shirts, red shorts and red socks. They'll be shooting from left to right, and then from right to left it will be the all-in-white Russians, who have, well, one step possibly in the semi-finals. If they beat Georgia today, which many people expect, then they'll just have to get 3 points against Belgium, and again they'll be expected to beat the Belgium side, and then they will go through. They've had 2 tough games so far in these European Championships. 2-1 they beat Turkey, a rematch of that final 2 years ago, and then a goalless draw against Spain, 2 alongside Russia of the favoured teams, not just in Group B, but also for this tournament as a whole. They'll be watching on and looking at the results and the performance from England in Group A and the amount of goals that they have scored. But for now, it's just about qualification and probably just getting through this game unscathed. Just touching on Georgia. Yeah, we know they've got no players on the bench, and all the best to them. And I do feel sorry for their goalkeeper, who's had to put the ball out the net on a number of occasions, and also during the second half of a few games have no one to throw the ball to, really, because a couple of players will stand on the edge of their D, and the rampaging runs of Bashlashvili and also Maglashvili has been stopped, mainly because they've either been injured, in the case of Maglashvili, who's out with a swollen ankle, or Bashlashvili, who's undoubtedly talented but failed to actually finish a game so far. He's had 2 yellow cards and 5 personal fouls in the other game, which means he has to leave the field of play. But it's Georgia to get us underway on the first game of day 5 of this IBSA 2017 Blind Football European Championships. And here you go Russia with their 2-goal hero from their win over Turkey. That's Denis Egorov on the right-hand side, wearing 7. Plays over to the left, and Ivanov wearing 9. I mentioned to Alan before the game as well, I wonder if they're going to change their tactics of just having those 2 men forward. They can be a bit more adventurous against this team from Georgia, but they tackle back well on the Russian left and concede a corner. If you're new to blind football, just we'll run through a number of the rules in the first few minutes. The ball itself, it's a size 4 football, so it's slightly smaller than you'd expect for an 11-a-side game, and it has ball bearings in a UFO-shaped saucer that's stuck to the inside of the football. It makes a rattling sound, and that's what the players are listening out for. That's why it's silence inside the stadium, and players are shouting "Voy" at all times, and that's to let players on the field, teammates and opponents where they are, and if they fail to actually save Voy, then it will be a foul from the player, either in attack or defence. He could be running to the player and not shouting, Voy, you collide with them, it's you that's given the foul away. Anyway, Russia switch ball to the far right-hand side of the first shot on goal, goes wide on the left-hand post, and it will be a goal kick to Georgia. So yeah, Voy very important, and just a word on them goals, they've been increased in size. They've changed the size of the goals in blind football, 66 centimetres wider than previous and 33 centimetres higher. So plenty of goals in this tournament, and that's what the rules have been changed for. Bashalashvili on one of his mazy runs gets halted, and now it's Russia over to the right-hand side, and Igorov, who's going to be their main threat. He's got 3 players in front of him, so he goes back to the broken line, which signifies the 3/3 of the pitch. Now he goes over to the left-hand side, still inside that final third, back over to the right. No one gets near him, shot from distance, again wide of the left-hand post, and a goal kick. Yes, this pitch is split into 3/3 with them broken lines signifying a third. You've got a penalty D, which is 6 metres from goal, a goalkeeping square of 2 metres, which only the goalkeeper can go in, and he can't go any further than that goal keeping square. If he does, then it will be a foul, and also a penalty as well. Here goes Georgia down the left, Shaklashvili up into the final third, still going towards the corner, and just knocks the ball out of play for a goal kick. Goalkeepers, when they throw the ball out, it has to bounce at least once inside their own half. Forward to 9, Ivanov. He loses out, and by trying to square it to Igorov on the far right, he picks it up though, and possible shot on goal. Good save by the keeper, down to his left-hand side near post, parries it around for a corner. And as you can see on the screen, there's 20 minutes and the time's counting up. Every time the ball goes out to play or there's an infringement, then the time will be stopped. So 20 minutes per half. And you can see the 5 circles below the teams, that's for team fouls. So if a foul is committed and it goes against the team, you're allowed 5 of them per half. Any more, and it will result in an 8-metre penalty kick. And more on that as they get tallied up throughout the half. It's Russia down the right, runs out of play for a goalkeeping restart for Georgia.
Yeah, already Russia camping Georgia inside their own half of the field. It's Bashalashvili on the left-hand side, though, picking the ball up now in between 2 feet, laterally coming inside to a central position. He's got 4 white shirts in front of him. He tries to dart past 3 of them, almost gets past Tikhonov as he gets towards the edge of the area. Still going Bashalashvili, cannons off his left foot in the end, and comfortably goes wide of Yakovlev's right-hand post. The man in the dark green jersey and black trousers throws it towards the right-hand side, and Agorov has already had a couple of opportunities on goal, comes in into the left foot, edge of the area in a central position, loses track of the ball momentarily, drifts to the left, then back onto the right foot again as he cuts inside, and it goes low and wide of Mandaria's right-hand post. So Russia certainly seeming keen so far in the early stages of this contest. Georgia have all their men in their defensive third at the moment. Bashalashvili striding out of that zone now over the halfway line. He loses control of the ball though as it drifts wide and over the byline and out for a goalkeeper's ball, and Yakovlev in the Russian net will throw it comfortably out to his captain on the left, Alexei Loktinov, who slowly strides forward towards a central position, tries to just play it down the centre of the field. Bashalashvili now picks up possession for Georgia, coming over the halfway line, past one player. Tikhonov comes across. He manages to get a strong foot in there, which is enough for Russia to again go on the counter-charge, and Ivanov is the man drifting all the way through past 3 red shirts, but loses the ball as he gets towards the right corner of the area. Couldn't get a sufficient contact with those green trainers, and it drifts wide of the goal. Bashalashvili down the right. Georgia very quick at the moment to try and get the ball forward. Bashalashvili goes in towards the penalty area, goes down, still has an opportunity in a central position. Again, the ball just slightly drifts away from it. It's quite windy here in Berlin, which may be having an impact on the ball. Agorov breaks down the right-hand side now, gets inside the attacking zone, checks back towards the broken line in a central position. Latley running from left to right, a nice arcing run towards the left side of the area. He goes down under the challenge this time of Petriashvili. He has stayed down, and therefore the referees just stopped play for a bit of a timeout, just so that Agorov could get any treatment if he needs it. He looks as if he'll be okay though. He comes up, jogs towards the far side. He's holding his mouth a bit, Pete, but it's great to see a lot of school kids coming in today. Of course, it's the summer holidays. Doesn't really feel like summer, has to be said, at the moment in Berlin, but a good turnout on this Tuesday morning. A throw out from Georgia. Basilashvili, again the man on the left-hand side to pick up possession. Midway inside the attacking zone. Comes inside a Tikhonov. Basilashvili still marauding forward towards the edge of the penalty area. 4 Russians on 1 Georgian. Doesn't seem like the fairest of mismatches, but Ivanov comes out on top in the end on the left-hand side. Checks back towards the halfway line. Nice dummy away from his man as he charges towards the left corner of the area. Deflects up off the number 8 for Georgia, Kaziak. Out towards the right-hand side. Agorov is in the back of Basilashvili. Basilashvili just as up for this one as he always has been right through these championships so far. The fire in the belly just as prominent as ever as he comes into a central zone. Can he do it in an attacking sense now? Right side of the area, shot comes in, blocked by the captain of Russia, Loktinov. It comes back for Basilashvili and goes out for a goal kick.
Yeah, it's a one-man attack for Georgia, but he's a very good player, Basilashvili, and I mentioned to Alan before the game, I think he might get on the score sheet today. Still goalless after only 5 minutes of this first half. Remember, 20 minutes each way. Going to ground is Shaklashvili, nothing given, and play continues over on the left-hand side towards the centre now is Basilashvili trying to back heel, doesn't work out. Igorov down the right, stops, comes back towards the centre, chance for a shot. Now he's going to have another mazy dribble, but before the D, gets to the right-hand side of the D, and just actually stands still. I'm not too sure whether he thought there was a foul going to be given. Shot left-footed wide of the left-hand post, and well, the goalkeeper looked out as if to say, why did everyone stop there? And just looking on the far side, and Basilashvili already is he's now receiving the ball, but he's bent over double and feeling the effects probably of all those games so far, and plenty of bruises and knocks on the Georgian number 6. Basilashvili just tries to shoot from an acute angle on the right and out of play for another restart for Russia. And well, if Georgia do lose Basilashvili, then that really will be curtains for them in this match. Igorov, central position inside the centre circle. Drifts over to the right, now back to the left. Good tackle on him by Shaklashvili. And now picked up again by that number 6 for Georgia. Goes down the right and just gets out-muscled by the Russian defence, but Tikhonov tried to play it back to his keeper. That runs out of play for a Georgian corner. So 6 minutes gone and still goalless. I think many people here, Jonathan, would have thought maybe Russia would be 1 or 2 up by now.
Yeah, Russia have certainly had their chances in the early stages of this game. Of course, early days, 6 minutes in. It's a corner on the right for Georgia, though, and the first time that someone other than Basilashvili in a red Georgian shirt has broken over the halfway line. Joining him is Alexander Shakarashvili, the small number 11, who will lay it off for Basilashvili to now try and curve his way in towards the penalty area, charges towards the front post, and Yakovlev can easily gather inside his goalkeeping square. Throws it out towards the right-hand side, and Agorov comes in field in a central zone now. Will look to check back eventually as he gets to the left-hand side. He's dragging 3 red shirts alongside him, but manages to get past one of them. Then Mazur's past another. Into the area he goes, right-hand side of it, and loses footing as he tries to swing with the right foot towards the goalkeeper's goal. Substitution being made by Russia. That's the last bit of action for now for Agorov. Of course, it's rolling substitutes, so when you come off, you can come back on again later on. But Shelayev coming on for him, and Shelayev is just as good a dribbler as Agorov. There's a man down at the moment for Georgia on the edge of his own penalty area, and I think that's just to get his socks and shoes sorted out there. Of course, the last thing Georgia want in this game is an injury. They've got no one on the bench, and I don't think their coach fancies coming on either. But Basilashvili now picks up possession. He's the only man, really, that can pose a threat towards the Russian defence. Trying to get towards halfway, he succeeds, but on the centre spot is stopped by Tikhonov. But Basilashvili never giving anything up, and it's a bit of a pendulum swinging at the moment, this time in favour of Tikhonov, who comes towards the right side of the area, shoots, and it's in off the post. What a wonderful goal from Tikhonov, and it just shows that perseverance pays off on the halfway line. He certainly met his match with Basilashvili, tussling away with him. He came out on top, did the small number 3 for Russia, charged towards the right side of the area, and a low angle shot, canning it in off one post and into the opposite side of the net. Completely beaten was Mandaria in the Georgian goal, and Russia have had 6.5 minutes before they've broken the deadlock in this one. They lead 1-0.
Yes, and the deadlock broken by possibly a surprise source in Tikhonov, who does get forward, but he's predominantly a defensive player. But Georgians' resilience lasted 6.5 minutes. And here goes Bashlashvili just straight down the centre, trying the most direct route to goal, and he fails at the last. It goes to ground inside the D, nothing given by the referees. 2 referees, as you'll notice. We've got Elias Mastoris on the far right-hand side as Tikhonov tries to find a second. Edge of the D, central position, goes to the left, fails to pull the trigger, stops the ball from going out of play. He's down the left, plays it back. Now it's Ivanov. Switches over to the substitute on the right, Shaliev. Very busy player, Shaliev. Here he goes towards the D in the centre, 10 yards from goal, just momentarily loses possession, still battling to win it back. He does so. He's now over on the left, but now the red shirts of Georgia can just play it up and out of danger only for a few seconds though, because here comes another wave of white attack of Russia on the right. It's with Tikhonov, the goal scorer, across the broken line towards central, and now over to the left, back towards the halfway line. He's got the centre circle to himself, plays a side-footed ball to the right, well controlled by Shaliev. Another mazy dribble, just gets to the edge of the D. Tried to stop actually and then change direction, but was tackled, and Georgia are making a bit of a mess when clearing their lines. And they're tackled only on their own broken line by Ivanov. Good tenacious defensive work by the Georgians, who player falls to ground, and it will be a free kick for them inside their own third, and possibly the first team foul here.
Yeah, it looks as if that will be the first team foul of the game against Russia. Of course, we'll want to find out, but the first decision for Yulia Kabau to make in this match, and she's just saying to those on the far side, the official sat in the white tent, sheltered from the breeze somewhat, and it's a first team foul of the game for Russia. So Georgia with a bit of respite for their defence. Bashlashvili carrying the ball out from the halfway line, and he has to turn, check his run, then go past Ivanov again, then Loktinov comes across, the captain of Russia, a very bustly defender, old school if you like. He just shepherds the ball out of play, and Yakovlev will have it. And of course yesterday we had England beating France by 7-0 on the live stream, over 1 million views online. It was an absolutely fantastic achievement for the sport of blind football, just the exposure it deserves in these European Championships. A lot of questions coming in, Pete, and one of them was, are these players actually blind? Because some of the techniques and qualities that were being shown by the players, and the level of dribbling on show as well, was really impressive, and I think took a lot of first-time viewers by surprise. That was certainly exposed by Tikhonov in this game as well. Another good example of how talented these players are. Ivanov, he's trying to dribble his way past Shakarashvili, just over the broken line, left-hand side now, going towards the byline. It's a tight angle, but still gets the shot away anyway, and a block almost on the line there by Petriashvili, manages to clear it away. A counter-attack almost on for Georgia, but he was almost in the goalkeeping square. Tikhonov, he's bustling his way towards the right-hand side. Can he recreate what he just scored a few moments ago? The answer is unceremoniously no, as he shanks it wide of the near post. But again, Russia continuing to press.
I think it actually hit the far post, Jonathan. See the replay here, he gets towards the byline and then just cuts back past the keeper. Oh no, it hit the defender on the knee and bounced so far out. To me, that hit the post. But yeah, you are right with the fact that many people have been taken back by the skill of these players, and obviously the goalkeepers are fully sighted. They act as a coach as well to players in the final third, and there is a coach behind the goal that teams are shooting towards, and they will give advice to the players once they're in, again, the final third. And when there is a free kick and dead ball situation, then they can tap the posts before it's taken, again, just to signify exactly where the players are on the field of play. Any questions that you do have, then please get in contact with us at Euro 2017 Berlin is our Twitter handle, and the hashtag is The Sound of Football. Use that hashtag, ask us a question, and here goes Bashlashvili again with that JJ Okocha style flick over his head. And in a previous game he did that and nearly scored. I think, I'm going to predict right now, that's not going to be the last time we see that. Here goes a rampaging run by the number 9 for Russia. Ivanov gets to the broken line, and then a foul has been committed. There we go, what a lovely bit of skill. And yeah, he did that in the previous game and ended up flying in on goal, and was brought down by the last man. It could have been a red card actually, but he was only given as a yellow. So Free kick given. The reason is because Ivanov collided with a player of Russia and of Georgia, and the Georgian player did not shout voy. So Ivanov did not know the player was there, and then they collided, hence the reason gave away the free kick. Now if the player did shout voy and Ivanov then collided with him, then nothing would have happened. Accidents do happen in blind football. It is a very physical game, and as I was saying on the commentary of the game against England, the first thing you need when you play blind football, for me, is you need to be extremely brave indeed. So free kick to Russia. Central position, shot from distance by Tikhonov, and well saved by the keeper, got his angles right there, saw it all the way into his arms.
Another good sighter on goal from Tikhonov towards the goalkeeper's net. There's a player down at the moment for Georgia who's clutching his face. He's laid on his back. The referee's going to have to stop play here. Another innocuous collision. And just what Pete said a few moments ago, I'll echo those sentiments now. You do have to be extremely brave in this game of blind football. Of course, with the eye patches on and also the blindfold as well, you are always going into a dark alleyway and relying on those around you to communicate what is the scene. And there, Shakarashvili just charging in towards the opposition player. In fact, it was his own player, Basilashvili. And, well, if you're an opposition player, they'd be able to testify that you don't want to get on the wrong side of Basilashvili, especially if you're on the same team as him as well, with an innocuous collision like that. And he's down, holding his face, is Shakarashvili. Back to his feet now, I'm glad to say. But nosebleeds and bloodbaths have certainly all happened in Georgian games so far, Pete.
Yeah, just a prime example. Just accidents do happen, and obviously when you're shouting voy, you need to let everyone know on the field, including your own teammates, where you are. Back with the game, just in front of the officials' dugouts on the left. Basilashvili, another run over halfway, down the centre, into a Russian wall of defenders, and they'll launch a counter. Plenty of Georgian players just standing on the edge of their own D, waiting for these wave after wave of attack. Here's Tikhonov, who opened the scoring. Another shot from distance, and very calmly saved by the goalkeeper, who just manages to control the ball on the edge of his on the edge of his goalkeeping square. You can see the dark patch on the field where we've had incidents over the last few days. Tikhonov to Ivanov now on the right, edge of the D, left-footed shot, just drifts wide of the post. Very casual goalkeeping a minute ago by the goalkeeper, but if you've got the skills, then why not show it? And he was allowed, I think he had a quick chat actually with the ref to say, can I pick that up or can I use my foot? And that's a shoulder barge on Basilashvili on the edge of the broken line, central position, and nothing given. He comes across to try and win it back, does so, shot from an acute angle and scoops that over the bar. So you can see Basilashvili there, really good close control, goes past one, and then looks to me that that was a foul on the broken line, but none given. Back with the action on halfway. Russia forced back into their own half. Sheliev is under no danger, so the call should be from the goalkeeper, let the ball go to him. He does so. Don't panic, just follow the shake of those ball bearings inside that ball. There's no one up front for Georgia at the moment, and the ball can roll back to the goalkeeper. Here goes Basilashvili though. He's only got one defender to beat. He's on the right-hand side, but good defending by the Russian defender, just clears his lines. Yeah,
Loktinov is a very tough man to beat. He's always at the anchor of the Russian diamond. And the other end, Sheliev running the ball out of play on the right-hand side, but it's been a good start from Russia so far. They've only got the one goal. They would have, of course, wanted more. It's a goalkeeping ball for Georgia to be thrown by Mandaria. Throws it out towards the right-hand side, aiming for Basilashvili. Of course, he's the intended target all the time as far as Georgia are concerned. Even have intercepts, though. Darts down the left side of the area, a bit of an angle towards goal. Tries to poke one towards Mandaria's goal. It's saved by the knees of the Georgian stopper in the end. Of course, he's wearing knee pads, which is very advisable on this AstroTurf pitch. Anyone that's been on AstroTurf in the goal before will know how damaging that can be to the knee area. Substitution now for Russia. Coming onto the field is Denis Agorov. He is replacing Evgeny Ivanov. So it's Russia's top scorer, Denis Agorov. 2 goals for him already in this tournament. And he'll be wanting to add to that as well. And of course, against a weakened Georgia side, not just the fact that they've got less numbers than Russia, they've also probably got a lot more bruisers as well than any other team at this tournament. And Agorov will be looking to expose those scars as the game goes on. It's chipped from the corner from the left towards the right. The broken line is met by Agorov, who charges way towards the right side of the area. Real chance on goal. A wonderful sliding block by Shakarashvili just inside his area to stop that nestling in the corner. Agorov wants more though, but Bazlashvili meanwhile is holding his face. And once again, what is it with these Georgian players? It's as if they've got a magnet in their nose just attracting the opposition towards it, because once again there is an injury on that far side. The water's going to be applied. Unfortunately, I don't think they're going to be able to do much more with that for Bazlashvili, who's walked away from the dugout on the far side, still got both hands over his nose. And the referee's just having a chat now with the Georgian coach, Ilya Kiplashvili, who I really feel sorry for, Pete. It's not been, by any stretch of the imagination, the ideal first ever international tournament for Georgia.
Yes, this is their first international tournament. They qualified in a qualification tournament before the tournament started, obviously, in April, actually, over in Romania. Came second to Romania, who are in Group A. They beat Ireland in the final qualification match. They've done very well to get here, and yeah, didn't have the biggest squad when they turned up, and through injury and suspension they've been whittled down to just these 5 players. The referee just seeing an infringement there. Maybe they'll have to take the free kick from outside of the D. So confusion there. Has the goalkeeper just handled the ball outside of his square? Here's Jonathan.
It's a pass back, Pete. It's a pass back, and that is really unfortunate for Georgia, who casually just knocked it back to Mandaria, innocently thinking that they'd be able to then set an attack down at the other end. But the referee, wise to it, has called for that pass back to be a foul. And Mandaria, who's already had several blasts towards his net in these championships already, is about to suffer another one here. And Agorov searching for his first goal of the game, his third of the tournament, will strike this from 6 meters with the number 7 on his back. And behind the goal will be the guide, Vitaly Budakin, to signify where the posts are. Agorov misses the penalty, completely goes past the right-hand upright in the end. And Russia with a missed opportunity with 7 minutes to go in this first half to double their advantage on this game. But Georgia are certainly trembling at the moment, and I do hope that this quake their defence is beginning to suffer does not see them concede a few more goals in this first half. Agorov let them off lightly there without penalties, then foul just inside the attacking zone. The tackle from behind from Shakarashvili was a definite trip. Accidental or not, it need not matter, because Agorov was bearing down towards the right-hand side of the penalty area there. The referee has waved Shakarashvili away, and it'll be another set-piece situation for Russia. Not quite as threatening as the penalty they had a few moments ago, but nonetheless a third team foul of the game for Georgia, who are slowly creeping towards that dreaded 5th cross on the scoreboard. So a free kick on the right-hand side. Tikhonov stood just behind Agorov here. And it's a 3-man Georgian wall just outside the corner of the D. And there's a man on the near side for Georgia, who is Kazia, marking Shalaya. The free kick taken. Agorov charges down the right-hand side, then checks back in to get a better angle. Shot squirms towards the far post. Now Shalayev will get the ball ahead of Shakarashvili. Worms his way towards the byline, then back towards the broken line instead, weaving away as much as he can from Shakarashvili, who goes to ground and misses the ball, and it squirms over the halfway line. And Georgia have a bit of respite momentarily, but it's going to come back at them again with Tikhonov on the right-hand side, slowly just tickling the ball under his feet at the moment. He crouches over halfway, then rolls it down the right-hand side. It's a good ball. Agorov, unorthodox way of controlling the ball, but it's good enough as he gets the shot away with the left foot. And what a wonderful goal that is from Denis Agorov. He may have missed a penalty a couple of moments ago, but he was saving his best for that moment there. A great bit of work on the halfway line from Andrei Tikhonov, goal scorer, turning provider as he played it down the right-hand side. Agorov, with his back to the byline, he was very close to the goalkeeper's area, managed to get down on one knee, control the ball, and then turn in a wide arc just in the inside right channel of the area to blast home a left-footed shot into the roof of Irakli Mandaria's net. Russia eventually double their lead in this game. They lead 2-0, and the timeout has now been called, and a bit of respite for Georgia. Georgia, discipline. Pete, at the moment, the halfway line, we have Georgi Bajlashvili around 15 metres away from his teammates who are currently on the screen there taking instructions, and he's just doing his laces. He's laid in a heap, and that doesn't look very good for Georgia.
No, not at all. We've only had 10 minutes or so of this first half, and Russia with those 2 goals, Georgia with 3 team fouls as well. And what the coach is saying on that bench, just again, they have no substitutes. Igorov with his 3rd goal of the tournament, and the 2nd goal of this game for Russia. And I mentioned it could be a big score. And Georgia, well, so far in their games, they've kept it down in the first half, and then it's all unravelled, as you would expect, with only 5 players in the second half, and of course with those suspensions as well. And just fingers crossed for them, it doesn't do, and it doesn't happen the same. This is their final game, Georgia, and I still think they've got a goal in them, especially with Bajlashvili on this pitch. And the one thing is, though, in the 2 out of 3 games he's played, 1 missing through suspension, he's not actually finished the game. But the number 7, Denis Igorov, scores the 2nd, and he's really the main threat. And that missed penalty didn't really have an effect on the game at all. And the strength of Russia will really be shown in the second half. But they lead by 2-0. Just a quick word on the games later on today. At 1:30, this is local time here in Berlin, Romania versus France. 5 o'clock, Belgium take on Spain, also in this group of B. And then a big clash tonight, 7:30 local time, England against Italy. Italy with the young superstar Poliobo, and England, who are looking like one of the strongest teams in this tournament. Here goes Bajlashvili, straight downfield, can't get a shot on goal. Really good play. Long throw down the right by Russia, off the kickboard, which are angled back slightly, so when the players do run into him and use them, it's not too harsh. They're not in their hip or anything. It's just angled slightly away from them just to cushion the blows. But here's Igorov once again trying to win the ball back for Russia. He does so on the halfway line in front of the officials' dugout. Good skill to turn his man. Flips it over to the left, and Shelev, who's full of running, very similar actually to the number 6, Bajlashvili for Georgia. But here goes Shelev inside the D, straight at the keeper. Really good save there by Mandaria. He got his angles completely correct, and it was a well-struck shot as well. I think it might have just caught his chin, and again, the footballs are size 4, and they are quite heavy as well, so you do need to be very brave to be a goalkeeper. Many of them suffer with plenty of bruises after the game, and you see their players limping already in the Georgian defence. Switch ball from the right to the left-hand side for Shelev. Can't pick this one up, and it will be a restart.
I do think that Georgi Bajlashvili game might be up. He's on the top of the screen at the moment, just hobbling away. And I do feel like he's in too much pain to continue. Shelev will look to rub salt further in the wounds, and he takes down Kalazia, who was completely oblivious to Shelev running towards him. He stumbled back to his feet. Shelev now kicks up possession. A bit of confusion as the ball momentarily was stationary. And out to the right-hand side it goes now. Agorov midway inside the attacking zone, switches it towards the near side. Shelev receptive to the ball coming off the kickboard. Left side of the area, has got 2 red shirts around him. Still battling away the Georgians. Will they concede a corner? No, they win a goal kick. There's a man down though in the corner for Georgia, who have been the walking wounded for much of this tournament so far in this game. And this match absolutely no different. Shakrashvili, second time he's been down on the ground, he's back to his feet again. Shelev, you can see they're getting the last touch, and as it goes into the corner, oh, he just gets the corner of the kickboard there. Not a chance at the other end, meanwhile. Bajlashvili darting towards the area, well parried by Yakovlev away from the goal. Bajlashvili still not giving this one up, goes in towards Yakovlev's area, and the Russian keeper can gladfully grasp with 2 hands. Shelev has the ball on the left-hand side, scurrying towards the byline. He may have lost control of that as it goes towards the byline. Indeed he does. Once again, Georgia throwing it out from the back. Mandaria to the left-hand side. Basilashvili coming towards the halfway line in a central position, diagonally running from left to right. He comes out to the right now. Basilashvili goes for a very ambitious effort indeed, and he manages to clip the kickboard on the far side before it goes out.
But why not? If he's got a clear path towards goal, then why not take a shot from distance? He possesses definitely the quality to score from distance. Russia inside the centre circle, lovely little drag back by Igorov, one of the main tactics in blind football. If you're running with the ball, stop, drag the ball back, and it means that the players will then continue their run, and in that split second when they then follow the sound of the ball, you've got an advantage of going the other way. Lovely drag back and back heel from Tikhonov. Good tackle inside their own D by Shaklashvili. The ball's momentarily stationary, and the referee has whistled to their lips. Nothing given so far. Tikhonov goes again, right-hand side, chance for a shot, well blocked by the defender, who Petrashvili, another bruise to add to his count. Once again, Russians peppering the goal. Tackle comes in, free kick, a foul by Shaklashvili. That's going to be the fourth for Georgia. Only 3 minutes to go in this first half, but players all over the field down, and like I said, many of these Georgians, if they had substitutes, they would not be playing. A yellow card has been awarded to Shaklashvili, and that's the last thing that the Georgians want. Of course, 2 yellows equals a red, and then they'll have to go to the sidelines. So it's going to be a free kick from 8 metres, dead centre. Igorov and Tikhonov standing over the ball. Also, Shaliev is forward. The only man back for Russia at the moment is Loktinov, who, to be fair, apart from a few tackles, has left it to the others, really. Had an easy day so far. So all 4 outfield players for Georgia in this wall, just outside the goalkeeping square, which is 2 metres in depth. So what will Igorov do here? Will he just move it to the right? Now, very similar position. He scored against Turkey, where he did exactly that. He moved the ball to the right and then had a low right-footed shot into the bottom left-hand corner. I wonder if he's going to apply the same tactics here. The coach behind the goal, he's going to tap the post. Now he's tapping the right at the bottom. Just the one tap as well. Now he's standing on that left-hand side. Here goes Igorov, again to the right. Low shot, he was trying exactly the same. This time it came off the wall and goes out for a corner. But why not apply the same tactics for that goal against Turkey? One of the best teams. That was actually a rematch of the 2015 final that took place in Hereford in the UK. Turkey beating Russia by 2-1, and Turkey beating Russia by 1-0 in that final, and then Russia winning by 2-1 in their first game in their rematch, as you would have it in Group B this time around. Won't be surprised with those 2 teams going through. Of course, they'll be split up in the semi-finals. Anyway, back to the action. It's with Tikhonov, back heel, down the right to find Igorov. He tries to square it for Shaliev. If he can pick up inside the D, he'll have a clear strike at goal. Referee just taps the ball. Here goes Igorov. Central position, left-footed shot, again blocked by the defence. He's going to have another opportunity. He's back to the broken line. So he's going to dribble towards the centre and start another run. Here he goes, past the broken line on the right. Drifts over to the centre. Left-footed shot into the back of the net. What a goal from Igorov. He likes his right foot, but he can score with his left and from distance. Through the defender's legs, past the goalkeeper's left hand, into the right-hand bottom corner. It's a 3 for Russia, 2 for Igorov, and really, it's game over for Georgia.
That is an absolutely wonderful goal by Igorov, and the best thing about it is that most of his goals have been when he's got a bit of an angle and that the players aren't in his way. That time around, it must have gone past 2 or 3 sets of legs before nestling its way into the bottom left corner of Irakli Mandaria's net, who was completely unsighted there when that shot came through towards him. Just a number of red shirts in front of him, and Georgia have very much an uphill task in this one. They'd already sort of defeated themselves before the game with injuries and suspensions, but now on the pitch, things going from bad to worse. Shaliev can really rub salt in the wounds, and he has as well. Cuts inside from the left, fires it in low. Well, we've had a couple of England players doing roly-polies, that time a double forward roll from the Russian, who adds a 4th to the Russian tally for this game. And Mandaria, just before the ball goes in, he's remonstrating with his defenders. I think that put him off a bit because he could have done a lot better there trying to save that, stretching out his right leg. A bad day all round, not an ideal tournament at all for the Georgians. They trail 4-0 and Russia making a change now. Coming off the field is Agorov and on comes his namesake Nikita Agorov.
Yeah, I'm pleased for Shelev. He's come off the bench for Russia in a number of the games and looked very impressive. Here goes Basilashvili again from the centre line, where they, of course, take the kick-off. He's inside Russian territory, but there's no one with him at all. It's a one-man attack and just pushes Shelev to the ground. And Ilias Pastoris, one of the referees on the far right, I think he's a little bit kind there just by telling the player to get to his feet. I think he understands the position of the game and the situation the Georgians are in. Of course, he's going to play the game to the letter of the law. Ball goes out of play for a goal kick, but just give it a little bit there for the Russians, knowing, of course, that Basilashvili, well, one of the bright sparks of this tournament. Here goes once again Russia on the right. This is the substitute, number 6, Igorov. Nikita Igorov this time. This is to Shelev on the broken line. On the left, lovely little drag back, now central position. Shelev from distance, scored one already and scores a second. This one creeps into the bottom right-hand corner. I don't think it's the best effort in the world by the goalkeeper for Georgia, who has performed heroics in this tournament. But Shelev doubles his tally, and Georgia, well, they've conceded 5 in the first half to Russia. And as we mentioned before the game, they've kept teams at bay in the first half. But then the floodgates open in the second, and you just fear for the Georgians in the second half. 5 down already, just before half-time.
I think this is the game where Russia get to the semi-finals, Pete. 5-0 up now, and they've already played Spain and got a point from that. They've already beaten the reigning champions, Turkey. Just one game for them to go in this group against Belgium, and you would certainly fancy them there. They could even afford to lose that probably and still go through. Shelev wants a hat-trick, goes down the right-hand side of the area, fires it in low towards the near post. The substitution now being made for Russia, who can really begin to take the foot off the gas, and they're actually taking off their captain now, Alexei Loktinov, who's had a very comfortable afternoon indeed. Say he's old school with the broad shoulders and the tucked-in shirt into his shorts as well. And he is replaced by Vasily Nikolaev, who makes his first appearance for Russia in these championships. A very small defender. He's got big red knee pads on. And, of course, to protect him not only from the turf, but probably from this man, Bashialev, as well, when he's running towards him. And he goes into the challenge of his opposite number there, Agorov, and that is a very nasty injury indeed into the face once again of Basilashvili. And when the post-mortem is done by the Georgians as to not just results but injuries as well, we could have some very frightening results, Pete.
Yeah, he's been given a stern talking to as well by Ilias Pastoris, the referee. Also Julia Garbo as well on the far side. That's the 5th team foul, so any more in the next 41 seconds and it will result in an 8-metre penalty kick. So you can see all the circles below Georgia and the flag all got crosses on. Just the 1 for Russia, but of course 5 up, they're not bothered. Here come Russia once again, squaring from the right to the left. Shelev, can he keep them from going out of play? No, he can't. Restart for Georgia.
So Georgia, just damage limitation for them coming to the end of the first period, not just physically, but the scoreline as well, of course. Basilashvili darting down the left, he's hungry for a goal, trying to charge into Nikolaev and give him a rude awakening as to what life's like in these European Championships. He manages to win a corner for his troubles, does Basilashvili. He'll be taken on the left-hand side. And the referee, Julia Cabal, just stood over the ball, shaking it under her foot, so that the oncoming Shakarashvili knows where the ball is to take this corner. So he will roll this ball to Basilashvili. The Russian 3 are back and now ready to defend. Basilashvili, tight angle for the shot. It cannons off Nikolaev and back out for another corner on that left-hand side. No reaction from Nikolaev there as it comes off his face, but believe me, that is a very heavy ball and you do not want it thumping you in that area. Shot comes in from Basilashvili. He didn't want to go for a Russian this time. He fancies the ball boy behind the goal who managed to take that right full on the face but in the end goes behind, and it's thrown forward. Shaliev wriggling down the left-hand side, goes all the way infield, past 3 defenders, shot comes in, the goalkeeper just parries it in the net, and if a goal conceded by Georgia was ever going to compound their game and their tournament as a whole, it would be that. Great play from Avenji Shaliev, coming in onto his right foot, slamming it straight at the goalkeeper Mandaria, and it was too hot for him to handle, and he just palmed it towards the right-hand side of his net. Shaliev grabs a hat-trick. It's super stuff from Russia. They secure their 6th of this game, 6-0, and there's still 20 minutes of the second half left. Poor old Georgia. Where do they go from here? They may feature in many more international tournaments after this, and nothing will be quite like their first experience. This has been a rocky road for them, to say the least. They go into the half-time interval now, 6 goals behind. A big team talk required from Ilya Kiplashvili. The big worry for Georgia is that so far in these championships, when they have lost out in the first period, they begin to lose their rag going into the second half, and things really begin to dismantle for them in terms of a discipline sector. And Basilashvili, the number 6, I've likened him to a Catherine wheel already this week. Hopefully in the second half will begin to be a leader, be a captain, as the armband on his left arm signifies, and be able to cool down a bit and make sure that his head speaks over his heart. As for Russia, their head and their feet have certainly done all the talking so far in this game. 6 goals for them, a hat-trick for Shaliev, Agorov with a brace as well, and Tikhonov opening the scoring for them with a great shot from the right side of the area. They go off as a team in single file towards their blue tent on the far side in very good spirits indeed. So the half-time score here then in Berlin, day 5, game 1, half-time. Russia 6, Georgia 0.
Thank you very much, Jonathan Bell. And you can see with the graphic, Shaliev towards the end of the half, turning this one into a thrashing. It wasn't so bad on the 18th minute, and then Shaliev scoring a hat-trick. So I'll come back to the studio here. I'm just marking down how many shots on target the two teams had. I'll give you a guess, Pete. No, I won't. 29 for Russia and 11 for Georgia in this game. And well, Pete, it started okay. There was 1 goal, and we were sort of holding off at 1 for a while as the wind picks up here in our studio. So battered down the hatches. And then all of a sudden it just opened up again.
Yeah, we said before the game that Georgia, what they've done is keep teams at bay for the first 15, maybe even for the first half, and then the floodgates opened. The problem in this game is that Russia scored very early. Then they had a good 10 minutes or so where they threatened a couple of times, Georgia, but once the second goal went in, game over. And then it's just been goal after goal. Shaliev with that hat-trick in the last 3 minutes. And the one player for Georgia who's really stood firm has been the goalkeeper. And he'll be a bit disappointed with his display so far. A number going through his hands, squirming in the far post as well. And he's disheartened. Many of the players are injured and disheartened. And it could be a very long 20 minutes in the second half.
Yeah, I think unfortunately for Georgia, as you said, the goalkeeper had been he'd been a hero at times in some of those games and has kept the scores as low as they have been, even as high as they have been. But yeah, today a couple of those goals, you can see his head's sort of down and he's maybe not in full of spirit. So you can see the Russian team, they've done it. They've done this every game actually. Not like most teams. They've gone behind the back of the stand that we're actually on, and they sort of hide from the sun. And there's a little bit of warmth in that area, but it's out of the sun directly. Today, ironically, it's windy and fairly cold. Not expected to get any higher than 17 degrees here in Berlin, but it was Russia who were hot here on the goals. So 6 of them, Pete.
Yeah, you can see the first one, and a goal scorer who maybe would have been further down the list of goal scorers who I thought might open for Russia, and it was Tikhonov, the defender, in off the post, cracking shot from the right side across the goalkeeper who didn't move, in off the post, 6 minutes gone, and then Russia with that first goal. And then it was the Igorov and Shaliev show, and Igorov with the 2 goals against Turkey, and he's doubled his tally for the tournament.
Yeah, Tikhonov there from the right. firing in low, and as we say, I think this is one that the keeper would have expected to get something on. I think he's just expected it to go wide here, hasn't he?
Yes. He's looking at the ball, he's following the track of the ball. There was no one standing between him and the shot, so he had a clear view. And I agree with yourself, I think he thought it was going wide. Catches the inside of the post. This is a fantastic angle where you can see it's arrowed into the bottom corner, off the post. No chance for the keeper, although I think if he had a second opportunity, he might have moved his feet a bit quicker and gone for it.
Goalkeeping coaches out there are probably questioning his positioning. I think he's too close to his near post, considering where the player was. But there you go. Then the next goal started coming from Igorov. Igorov, who's got a few in this tournament already, and that's a great strike. I know we're sort of lambasting the keeper a little bit here. That is an absolute beauty.
Yeah, no chance with that. He's their most potent striker. I mentioned he scored the 2 goals in the fabulous win against Turkey, the first game of the tournament for Russia, and he caught that one lovely. And the goalkeeper's got no chance with the increased goal sizes now in blind football. 66 more centimetres wider, again 33 centimetres higher. If you do go high from point blank range, it's very difficult for the goalkeeper to stop.
33 centimetres is exactly the size of the box that Pete stands on to make him look a similar height to me. He's not. Yeah, look at this. I mean, that's just the keeper. Any keeper struggling to move his hands quick enough to make that save, and unfortunately for Irakli, it's not gone well at all. So here's the second goal for Igorov, and this one is a lovely mazy run. And I heard you and Jonathan Bell purring over this one as he drops it in the bottom left-hand corner. That's a great strike.
Yes, he does like to come off the right-hand kickboard and then drifts into the centre. He's more right-footed, so a shot from that distance with his left foot going in. Maybe the goalkeeper again slightly unsighted because it went through a defender's legs. And there's Shalev getting his first of 3. Goalkeeper was wrong-footed there. Good play by Shalev and a lovely forward roll, and maybe a double forward roll as well. So maybe that's a bit of a sign to England, who love a forward roll after they score. Russia with a double forward roll, and maybe that's just a word to them, say, look, maybe we're going to face you in the semi-finals or final. But Shalev, a bit of a live wire from the bench, so it's nice to see him getting involved with the goals. And yeah, this was the first of 3 in 3 minutes.
So Shalev delivering the goods. The guy behind the goal just applauding, and he's been very active. And again, another one there that you have to say maybe the keeper can do a little bit more with. He gets a shin to it. Maybe should get more. This is a good strike from Shalev, but again, another one slipping under the hand and the body of the keeper. I think that's 3 so far of the 6 that we've seen where maybe could have done better.
Yes, and I think the final goal as well, we can see Shalev again on the left-hand side. He's going to come across, and I think this is the one that the goalkeeper will want to have a look again. Straight in front of his face, 2 hands on it, and just parries it into the back of the net. Gets a round of applause from the crowd on the near side, but yeah, I think the Georgian keeper will want to do better in the second half than his efforts, especially for those final 3 goals. But Russia 6 goals up at half time, and I think it's going to be double figures by the end.
So whilst Russia have had a close game and a 0-0, mistakes like that will not keep the scoreline low. Well, place your bet, I suppose, on how many goals you feel there are going to be in the rest of this game. This game has been so good. One of our cameramen has split his trousers during the broadcast as well. There you are, crouching down to get all the great shots. But there you are. Will this stop below double figures purely because Russia think, do you know what, we've done enough, let's take our time, or will they just keep going?
They'll keep going. And so for a couple of reasons. One, because if they make substitutes, they've got a very strong squad, and the people coming onto the pitch want to prove a point and want to get in that first team for later on in the tournament. They've got 1 foot already in the semi-finals. Their next game and the final game in Group B for them is against Belgium, and they'll be favourites for that because they've already been to Turkey, because they've drawn against Spain, the 2 other favourites to go through along with Russia. They've got 1 foot already in the semis, so I would be surprised if the likes of Igorov carries on in this second half. Maybe Shalev will be the main man up front, especially with those 3 goals already. But I can see a number of substitutions for Russia, and I just pray for Georgia and their goalkeeper, and hopefully they can keep 5 players on the pitch.
Yeah, the worry for Georgia is if they take some of the players that have already scored off Russia, those substitutes will want to prove a point as to why they should be in the starting teams as well. Here's the league table. So Turkey are leading with 6 points from their 3. Russia will go top of the table with this victory, but they could do with keep on scoring here. Spain with that +8. They need to kind of match that.
Yeah, they've got fate in their own hands, Russia. If they win this game, they go clear at the top, and then they've got one last game against Belgium, and if they win that, they will be through to the semi-finals, and then we've got a mouth-watering clash between Turkey and Spain to see who goes through in second place, or maybe if Turkey fail, could probably overleap them into first. But I think it will be Russia to top the group, and then a clash between Turkey and Spain for second.
So we'll send Pete back off to the commentary box. Remember, Turkey have played 3 of their 4. Spain have 2 more to play, including a game against Belgium here. Russia win here. That's their 3rd game. They could have 7. Turkey can finish on 9. And Russia and Spain will then battle it out with them. Those 2 could knock Turkey out, which, well, that would be a huge shock. The reigning champions beaten in the first game. As we go live now to our commentary team, Jonathan Bell and Peter Selby.
Thank you very much, Alan. Just a couple of members of the England team joining us in front of the stand here. Of course, their game coming up later on tonight, a massive one as well against Italy. But for now, it's a case of Russia running right here against Georgia. They're about to kick off this second half, standing over the ball, ticking off just behind the number 6 for them, Agorov. Nikita Agorov takes the kick off. Russia in all white, Georgia in all red. Agorov worming his way towards a central position just outside the penalty area, just towards the left. He's got 4 red shirts around him, gets past a couple, and Georgia just trying to scramble the wall clear from the edge of their own area. They do eventually with Basilashvili, who now charges over the right-hand side of the halfway line. Tikhanov's got in for company, and they managed to stop him just on the edge of the penalty area. And charging forward now is Nikolaev. Nikolaev in a central position. He's got a bit of room in front of him here. Comes towards the right-hand side of the area, on a bit of an angle, swings towards the ball. It rolls all the way behind the byline and out for a goalkeeper's ball man. Daria throws it forward over the halfway line. Basilashvili loses track of the ball. It goes in front of him. He comes towards the byline on the far side, the right. He runs into Tikhanev. Tikhanev, a very good defender for Russia, but Basilashvili giving him a very good competition as well. Into the right-hand side of the box. They're both spinning round, trying to get a connection on the ball. Basilashvili swung at it with the left foot. It harmlessly goes wide, though, and out it goes for a goalkeeper's ball.
Yeah, we were talking about the substitutes for Russia coming off the bench, and well, there we have Nikolaev with a long run from one end of the field to the other. Shows you the quality they've got all throughout their squad. Here's another substitute, number 6 for Russia, and that's Igorov. Igorov down the right-hand side, stopped towards the broken line. Bit of a wrestling match going on the right-hand kickboard, but now it's with Tikhanev inside the centre circle. Drifts over to the left-hand side, stops by the broken line. Lovely little drag back. Now he goes over to the right, still outside of the Russian third. Now he goes into that final third, stops, goes back towards the halfway line. Lovely close control. More of a defender, but we've already witnessed he's got a powerful shot. Good tackle comes in from the back, and that's Shakalaev, and well, that's what the Georgians will have to do more of in this second half. It's going to be a foul and a free kick to Georgia on halfway, just in front of the officials' dugout. A foul on Basilashvili, and a chance for Georgia to maybe build a bit of pressure on Russia. Obviously 6-0 down. I think the game has gone for them, but the longer they can keep it down to 6 in this second half, the more hope and the more belief will spread throughout the team, and that includes the goalkeeper who, to be honest, really with those final 3 goals in that first half, could have done better with pretty much all 3, especially the last one straight at him, and his shoulders were very low. He's been a hero in their first 2 games, the Georgian goalkeeper. Another rainbow flick by Basilashvili. This time goes beyond the defence into the D, slides in on the goalkeeper, who's bravely saves down low to his left-hand side. But Basilashvili, another rainbow flick. That's the second of the game, and hopefully not the last. Down the right-hand side for Igorov in the final third towards the D. It's inside the D now, and the goalkeeper kicks it against his defenders, and he goes out for a corner to Georgia. Risky play there by the goalkeeper. Instead of just picking the ball up in his square, he decided to kick it. It hit the Georgian defence and then rolled behind for a corner to Russia on the right-hand side. Away to our right, Russia shooting from left to right from our position. They're in all white, and Georgia all in red, shooting from right to left, again from our commentary position, which is exactly the same if you're watching the live stream, just behind the camera. Corner from the right. I think the Georgian Basilashvili was a bit eager there to close down the corner, so it's going to be restarted. So another corner for Russia. On the right, this time going along the kickboard to the broken line, intercepted, back down by the corner. Here goes Igorov once again towards the centre position, over to the left-hand side, being forced out of the Georgian third. Very well defended there by Shaklashvili, who clears over halfway line down the right-hand side. He's trying to chase his own clearance towards the corner. A couple of Russian players just getting in each other's way. They got a lovely back heel, though, out of their own half, down the left-hand side, and it finds Shalayev, who scored those 3 goals late on. He runs into his fellow number 8, and the ball runs out for a goal kick to Georgia.
Yeah, Mandario all in black, bolted out towards the right-hand side and the halfway line. Basilashvili goes behind him, but he'll charge down the right-hand side. He comes towards the Russian area, just slightly loses track of the ball as it gets caught under his feet. Russia have 4 men back here. Basilashvili goes past 2 of them down the right-hand side. Tight angle for a shot. He gets a deflection, though, and it'll be a corner for Georgia on the far side, their right. And the referee, Julia Cabau, the first female to officiate a game at an international tournament, just shakes the ball under her foot so that the Georgian players know exactly where to trace it as they go towards that far corner. It will be Shakarashvili to go across, and he will play the ball back for Basilashvili. Just 2 men up for Georgia, kicking from right to left in this second half. Basilashvili swings towards the ball. He gets his leg taken away from him by Shalayev, the man on a hat-trick at the moment for Russia, but he concedes a foul there, and it will be a second team foul of the half for Russia. And Georgia with another set-piece opportunity, not too far away from where they took the corner a few moments ago, just a bit further towards the broken line, level with the right corner of the D, and stood over it is Shakarashvili once again behind Basilashvili, who will take this ball. It's a 3-man Russian wall, and just to the right of them is Nikita Agorov, the stocky number 6. And Georgia looking to try and get their first goal of this match. A 6-goal deficit at the moment for them. It's Basilashvili, goes to swing with the right foot. He clashes into Nikita Agorov. The referee this time around tells Basilashvili to get up. He's clutching at his eyewear there. They may have got another smash to the face. That'd be a 3rd one if he did, but Yakolev, the goalkeeper for Russia, bowls it down the far side, the Russian left. Shalayev trying to control the ball. He's got 2 red shirts in his back, right up against the kickboard in front of the Georgian coaches. Shalayev getting his shirt pulled there by Basilashvili. The referee indicates a free kick just inside the defensive zone as far as Georgia are concerned. Shalayev stood over the ball, and coming across will be Andrei Tikhonov. So it's another free kick, this time in Russia's favour. Just a personal foul this time around, but a 3rd personal foul of the game there, going against Shakarashvili. He's already on a yellow card in this match as well. Russia with that kick then to be taken on the far side there left, just over the broken line inside the attacking third. It's Tikhonov, the number 3, stood behind Shalayev, the number 8. That long brown hair, and he runs with the ball now, looking for his 4th for the game. Plays it towards the right side instead for Agorov. Cuts inside on the right channel of the area, just outside the goal mouth. It's poked backwards by the Russian defence. The goalkeeper tries to clear it away. It cannons back off his defender towards him, and then he gets it away at the second attempt to set off a counter-attack. Basilashvili charging towards the box. He gets fouled, he thought, at the edge of the area. He went down, no free kick. And once again, he's got a word to say to the referee. And right down the other end it goes now. A bit like a basketball game, this, in the last few moments. Russia with it in the right corner with Nikita Agorov. Falls back towards the broken line. Really good pressure, this, by Alexander Shakarashvili, who actually wins the ball. The small, diminutive number 11 for the Georgians. Get towards halfway. It's cleared away by Tikhonov, who maybe have got a kick for his troubles there by Shakarashvili. He clears it down the right-hand side, and a moment to breathe, Pete. 6-0 Russia. They've conceded a goal kick which Georgia will take from the back.
Yeah, Georgia roll out down the left, controlled well by Bashlashvili on the halfway line, using the left-hand kickboard well, advances into Russian territory. Now he switches over towards the central position, goes over to the right-hand side, still with control. He's got 4 Russian players, though, between him and the final third, and then he brings a Russian player to ground, and I make that possibly his 4th foul, and this is Bashlashvili, who's failed to finish a game so far in these championships. He's had 2 yellow cards in his first game, missed the second through suspension. The third game he got 5 personal fouls and was dismissed from the field, and I'm just watching over now. It's the 4th for Bashlashvili. And it will be a free kick to Russia inside their own half. Taken by Shalev inside the centre circle, tries to pass the ball forward, but inadvertently plays it straight to the feet of Bashlashvili, who comes over halfway. Shalev does well, he gets back and just shields the ball away from his Georgian counterparts, and Russia play it back to their goalkeeper, who's going to play it long down the right, off the kickboard on the halfway, towards Igorov on the right for Russia, intercepted by the Georgian defence, but Igorov picks it up right-hand side of the D, turns away towards the centre, back to the broken line, good close dribbling, over to the left-footed shot is wide by a couple of yards, tries to go for the near post, but just didn't catch the ball properly, sliced away with his left foot and goes harmlessly wide. Bashlashvili inside the centre circle, rampaging down the centre, brought down by the last man who was on there all fours when he was brought down. It's around about 10 metres from goal, absolute dead centre position, and once again Bashlashvili is in the wars.
Absolute battering ram, isn't he, Bashlashvili, breaking from the halfway line towards the area there, and the only person stopping him between the ball and the goal was the defender Nikolaev coming across, and he clattered him down, and so it will be a Georgia free kick. There will be a Russian change first, though. In fact, it looks like a double substitution. The referee has got a player either side of him that he's chaperoning off. Going off right now is Nikita Egorov, replaced by namesake Denis Egorov, of course the man who got a brace in the first period for Russia, and also coming on now is number 9 Evgeny Ivanov, the grey-haired stocky striker, and he replaces Evgeny Shalev, who got a hat-trick in that first period. So it's a free kick for Georgia, just inside the attacking zone. It's just, I'd say, around 9 metres out this, right of centre. And you've got Alexander Shakrashvili stood behind the captain, Georgi Bashlashvili, with that rugged brown hair. It's a 3-man Russian wall in front of him. And the referee just waiting for the guide for Georgia behind the goal. It was Levan Budishvili to tap the post. Bashlashvili strikes now, it hits Nikolaev at the back for Russia. The wall doing its job and clearing it over halfway now. And it's gone up towards Igorov at the other end. It's well met by the big Georgian centre-back Petrashvili, who clears it towards the right-hand side, and Shakarashvili. He's got his back towards the halfway line, inside his own half, just keeping it on the right-hand side alongside the kickboard. Egorov comes on the scene and wins the ball back, darting down the left-hand side. Really good run this. Ivanov in a central position, really good chance for a shot. He shoots towards the goalkeeper Mandaria, who I don't know if he was rubbing butter or soap on his hands before this game, but he just can't keep to get the ball in between his hands whenever it comes to him.
No, he'll be disappointed with that. It was straight at him, no pace at all, and he parries it around for a corner for Russia, and it will be on the right-hand side. And once again, I said in the half-time discussion with Alan March that he'll be disappointed with his efforts on the last 3 goals for Russia in that first half. And he started slightly poorly in this second. Igorov takes the corner, runs into a red wall of Georgians on the edge of the D, and he's forced back to the halfway line. Inside his own half, picks it up on halfway, inside the centre circle, brought to ground by Bashlashvili, but nothing given. Over to the left for Russia. And it's the substitute who actually started the game, Ivanov. Ivanov's being forced back to halfway, still with the ball, now tackled by Bashlashvili, who, again, a one-man attack for Georgia. Down the left, stops before the corner, goes back towards the D, snuffed out the attack by 3 players for Russia, who then rampage over halfway. It's a substitute, Nikolaev. He's got 3 men in front of him, central position, goes over to the left-hand side, pushes the ball past them all, keeps it from going out of play, left-hand side of the D, then just stumbles over the ball and it's Georgia who clear, and Nikolaev was a bit too eager in trying to get the ball back for Russia, brings down a Georgian counterpart, and Georgia will have a free kick inside their own third, way out on the far right by the kickboard.
Number 3, Russia.
6 minutes gone in this second half. 6-0 still the lead to Russia. Although Russia have plenty of plenty of team fouls. They've got 4 so far in this first 6 minutes, so a couple more and it will be Georgia with a chance from the 8-metre mark. But there's plenty of time before that. First of all, there is an injury to a Georgian player, and this is what we feared, Jonathan, that with only 5 players, and many of them possibly might have not even started if they had any substitutes, there's going to be a big effort for them to actually finish the game, and it's the one that we pinpointed before the game that might have a few problems, and that was Georgi Peshrashvili, who went off with a really bad nosebleed actually in the previous game, and warrior-like came on for the final few minutes. He's currently off the field, so Georgia are down to 4 players at the moment, but one of them is Peshrashvili, who tries a shot from distance and just scuffs it wide. It was actually going to be a volley, and I wouldn't put it past him to break the net with a volley. He's tried a few rainbow flicks already, the star man for Russia, for Georgia. But it's with Russia and Igorov inside Georgian territory, central position, lovely dribbling skills. Now he's broken the line, outside of the D, but his right-footed shot goes wide by a couple of yards at least, and it's with the Georgian keeper.
Mandaria bowls it out towards the right-hand side, and it's Peshrashvili, the only Georgian inside that half at the moment. Gets towards a tight angle on the right-hand side of the area, slides in to try and shoot towards the net, but it's easily gathered by Yakovlev, the goalkeeper for Russia, in his dark green jersey and black trousers. Throws it out towards the right-hand side. Denis Egorov over halfway. He's got a man up with him on the left. He laterally runs Egorov towards that left-hand side now, up against the kickboard, checks back inside again. Really good close control from him, just slowly getting it between left and right foot. Shakarashvili forcing him towards the near side once again. A bit of a zigzag run from Egorov, who's now forced into his own half towards our left-hand side. And he's battling away just outside his defensive zone. It's still Shakarashvili, tenacious in his back, but the ball is switched by Russia over halfway, diagonally towards the left-hand side. Ivanov now darting down the centre. Basilashvili back to try and force the ball away. He does succeed first time around, but Ivanov wins it the second time around. Just outside the broken line, Basilashvili's back and he wants some more action, but Ivanov comes out on top again and waltzes all the way through the defence. Angled drive from the right side of the area as he wormed his way through, but the goalkeeper can this time claim it with 2 hands, Mandaria, and throw it towards the left-hand side. Egorov coming out on top against Basilashvili in a central position just over the halfway line. Basilashvili, second time around, wins the ball back. He tries to get through the centre, but he is well marshalled by the Russian defence. So Ivanov at the other end, running forward for Russia, down the left-hand side. The area pokes one outside the foot towards the goal, saved first time around, came back towards Ivanov. He couldn't get his bearings right with that shot, scuffs it towards the right-hand side. And Egorov, still inside the attacking zone, in the central position, goes on the outside of his man towards the right, gets towards the right channel of the area, but runs out of room, and it goes out of play, past the byline, and out for a goalkeeper's ball. Mandaria throws it down towards the far side, but it goes straight to Ivanov. Ivanov darting forward. Georgia with 2 defenders back at the moment. Ivanov outside the right foot, lovely goal down the left side of the area. He poked it with that right foot past the goalkeeper Mandaria into his bottom left corner. And Ivanov there, who's been threatening a goal for the past few moments of this match, just waltzed his way down the left side of the box. I said that Georgia only had 2 men back. One of them's off injured. One of them was sulking Basilashvili down the other end of the pitch. And Ivanov got down the left side of the box, just outside the goalkeeper's area, and just poked it with the outside the right foot into the far corner. Lovely goal. Georgia timeout. They've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, another man that won't be happy with that is the Georgian coach, who actually handed a timeout sheet to the officials on the far side, and it wasn't given, and he's remonstrating over on that far side, but never mind. It's the 7th of the game for Russia, and it's about time that Ivanov actually got on to the score sheet. So it's 1 for Tikhonov, 2 for Igorov, 3 for Shaliev, and now 1 for Ivanov. 7 for Russia. They do have 14 fouls against them, so there is a chance for Georgia, although they have only 3 outfield players on the field. And then during this timeout, 1 sat on the floor, the other one's walking around shaking his head. And Basilashvili is being almost consoled by the officials. He would be one of the star players on most teams in this IBSA Blind Football European Championships. He's goalkeeper as well, slumped on the far side when Russia, and then just having a quick chat with the officials. There's the goalkeeper along with one of his players. Not too impressed with what's going on right now. Obviously this is the culmination of the 3 games that they've played. 8-0 defeat to Spain, 5-0 to Belgium, and that 9-2 reverse against Turkey yesterday. So far it's 7 for Russia, who have got 1 foot in the semi-finals. Russia, they have a game against Belgium in Group B remaining, and if they beat the Belgians, which they'll be overriding favourites too, then there's the goalkeeper, not happy at all with proceedings. And if they do beat Belgium, then they will be into the semi-finals and possibly facing off against England in the semi-finals. I'll have to wait and see. If England do top the group, then I don't think they'll be facing Russia, because I think they're going to top Group B. So we do have a problem on the far side now with one of the Georgian players who's not got to their feet, and if so, here come the medics actually.
There's more than one problem, Pete. The goalkeeper's hobbling off. They've already got a player off injured, have Georgia. There's a man slumped now on the far side who's getting medics' attention. The medics have only just finished with Petriashvili, who was off the pitch for a nosebleed. They're now having to dart off to Shakarashvili, who is still on the far side. There's a big water bottle next to him. Maybe he's wanting to take on fluids, but the medics are down there and nursing some sort of injury. It's hard to tell what it is because they're on the far side next to the advertising hoardings, and the Georgian coach, the 2 medics, also a doctor there as well, they're all crowding round the player on the floor. So I'm not too sure what this problem is, but his headwear is off, his eyewear is off, and he's in some discomfort.
Yeah, let's just let you know what's happening later on today. At 1:30 local time here in Berlin, it's Romania against France in Group A. Then it's Belgium against Spain in Group B at 5 o'clock, and then that big game later on, 7:30 local time, England against Italy. England flying in this tournament. Make sure you're with us. And when England played yesterday, there was over 1 million people viewing the live stream for England's fantastic victory against France, and hopefully we can have similar figures in a game against Italy. And well, the Italians, they've got the young 15-year-old Poliobo, who scored 4 goals in his previous game. Hell of a future for that player, and maybe not even a future, maybe the present. But England, I think, will start favourites. There you can see Group B. So Russia, with this victory, an expected victory, being 7 goals up, they will go top with a game against Belgium, so it's in their hands, and they'll be favourites to win Group B. And then it'll be a fight between Turkey and Spain for 2nd place in Group B. And Group A, well, England are in the driving seat so far. They've got a game on Wednesday against Germany as well.
All the 4 Georgian outfield players, I'm glad to say, are, I wouldn't say fit and back on the pitch, but they're on the pitch. So they are ready to complete the rest of this game, which Russia lead by 7-0. And it will be Georgia taking the kick-off, shooting from right to left, and looking to see out the rest of this game at just the 7. Bazashvili going all the way through, and he actually scores. This time he gets towards the goalkeeper's area, darted through and just toe poked it just in front of the goalkeeper into the bottom right corner of his net. So finally Georgia have something to cheer about in this game. They're now 7-1 behind.
Well, he's had 7 opportunities so far to score from kick-off. He gets the ball, obviously, from the halfway line, and then just goes straight towards the edge of the D, straight down the centre of the field, weaving in and out of players. And this time, instead of overrunning the ball, he managed to get a shot on goal, and right from the edge of the goalkeeping square, just prods it past the keeper's left-hand side. And it's a thoroughly deserved goal for Georgia, and especially number 6, and that's Georgi Bazashvili. Straight down the other end, there's going to be a goal kick because it's just overrun by the Russians on the left. And now here come Georgia once again with a renewed impetus, skipping their step as you would have it. And Bazashvili down the left, past the broken line. Here he goes again, towards the centre, in the centre circle. Bazashvili starting his razy dribble, just stumbles over the ball first time of asking, picks it up again, past the broken line, into a wall of Russian defenders. He's knocked off the ball squirms towards the goalkeeping square, and it's picked off by the Russian defence, and they just clear it downfield. Iganov, if he can pick this up, he'll be in on goal. No, he can't. He's been forced back towards the halfway line. Picks it up again for Russia. Pushed to the ground by Bashlashvili. Nothing given by the referee. And now Bashlashvili goes down the right kickboard. Past the broken line towards the corner. Just pushed off the ball by the much taller and broader number 9 Ivanov, who just anywhere will do, clears it for Russia. It goes down the right over the halfway line, hits the kickboard, and now Iganov. Banana run towards the centre, stops. He's facing the halfway line. He's got plenty of men behind him. Switches play over to the left, then Ivanov. He's waiting for the ball to hit against the kickboard. He does so. Now he controls in the final third. Drifts over to the centre. Squares it across to the right. There's no Russian player there, so it goes out for a goal kick to Georgia.
So there are just 10 minutes remaining of this game. 7-1 to Russia. And the ball is bowled long towards the right-hand side. Basilashvili's not going to keep that one in play. And it goes towards the opposite goalkeeper, Yakovlev of Russia. Bowls it down the centre and straight and very slow indeed as it trickles into the feet of Tikhonov, who has been told he can turn. He's got a bit of room in front of him, and then a Georgian defender comes into his face and pushes the ball over the halfway line. So Tikhonov has to retreat back towards the far side, but like some sort of mad dog, Basilashvili is on the far side, just not giving that one up at all there. A dog after a bone, I would say, Basilashvili. And this time the bone will not be his, but the 5th personal foul, I think. No, it's his 3rd personal foul of the game. And Basilashvili, of course, he's got quite a low temperament. He's going to have to be careful. 3rd personal foul and also a second team foul. The England team currently being shown on the screen right now. Coach on the screen as well, John Pugh. England after their... he's looking around now, I think, surprised and stunned that he was on the screen there. But, of course, England, 2 magnificent performances so far. 6-0 against Romania, 7-0 against France. Now pressure, lads, to make sure it's just as sizable a scoreline tonight against Italy. Egorov coming down the centre. Basilashvili picking up the ball on the edge of his defensive zone and coming away with it again. He's hungry for a second as the Georgian skipper. Right down the centre. He's still going down the right side of the area. Oh, it's hit the outside of the post on the angle. That would have been a wonderful solo goal from Basilashvili, who, it seems to me, whenever he gets the ball, he's only got one gear, and that is the top gear when he gets it.
Yeah, but the goal he scored, he managed to get a shot in. Just at the other end, here goes Ivanov on the right of the D. Good save by the goalkeeper with his right knee. It just lands outside of the goalkeeping square. Ivanov tries to win it back for Russia and does so. Back to the broken line, and Egorov up to the halfway. He's being pushed back by that man, Basilashvili, once again. Basilashvili, terrier-like, wins it back for Georgia. And he just has to stop and pause. He's got a problem with his left leg, but it's with Egorov. Now down the right, stops, drifts over to the centre, 8 metres from goal, stops again. Lovely little drag back, close control. Doesn't get the shot in because a Georgian boot just picks the ball off for the all-red of Georgia. It's in the final D again for Russia. Switching over to the left-hand side. Good close control by Ivanov on the left. Inside the Georgian half. Switches play, goes to the centre, chance for the right-footed shot, edge of the D, lovely diving tackle there, right at the end by Shaklashvili. It's still with Russia on the edge of the D, left-hand side, Ivanov doesn't get a shot off on goal. He had a clear path towards goal, and now he hooks the ball wide with his right foot. But, yeah, 1 or 2 chances there for Russia. They failed to pull the trigger when really the coach behind should have said, now's the time to take a shot. There's players all over the floor for Georgia. With only 8 minutes remaining, fingers crossed, they all can continue.
Well, that on the floor there was Shakrashvili after that great slide tackle. He's very small indeed. He's not much taller than around 5'9". He's Alexander Shakrashvili. Back to his feet now, however, and Russia have a corner on the far side, their left, and poised over the ball is a combination currently of Ivanov, the grey-haired figure, and the man in front of him, Tikhonov, who's a on the other end of the age spectrum, let's say. He has the ball now, does Tikhonov, the number 3. He looks to arc his run back towards the broken line, then comes down the right-hand side instead. Basilashvili once again, straight onto the near side. There is never a dull moment with him, clattering into the kickboard there. Tikhonov comes out on top, though. He's got 4 red shirts in front of him. He tries to slam a shot in from distance towards goal. It goes blocked by Basilashvili. Basilashvili then nips at the ankles of Tikhonov again, who wins a free kick for Russia. And Basilashvili turns round and screamed at somebody, I'm not sure who, but he's certainly not happy with what is going on here. despite the rainbow flicks and his goal, it is not going his way at all. It's a 4th personal foul and a 3rd team foul from Georgia. Russia are about to have a free kick, but first will make a substitution. Going off the pitch will be number 9, Evgeny Ivanov, and he's replaced by the man who got a hat-trick in the first half, a 3-minute hat-trick, Evgeny Shalayev, who is back and hungry for more. But first it will be a Russian set piece, just inside from the right-hand kickboard on the broken line.
7.5 minutes remain of this Group B clash. Georgia 1, Russia 7. And it will be a Russian free kick exactly on the broken line, as Jonathan said, to the right of centre. And Igorov is standing over the ball. Georgian player's just been taken to the near side, just give him a bit of water. Looks like he's going to be fine to continue. So Tikhonov and Igorov standing over the ball. It's going to be the number 7, Igorov, who scored those 2 vital goals against Turkey in their first game when they got a little bit of revenge for losing in the final 2 years ago. So the free kick, again, broken line, right of centre. There are 3 men in a wall on the edge of the D. Shalayev for Russia over on the far left-hand side. He's got a man with him as well, Shaklashvili. The goalkeeper, very relaxed in goal. Igorov takes it, just drifts over to the left, tries to do the same over to the right-hand side, but tackled by that man, Bashlashvili, who again leads the defence and the attack for Georgia, pushes Russia back into their own half. Tikhonov now tries a run from deep, over the halfway line, past the broken line, down the centre, now on the right-hand side, shoots over the top of the crossbar, good connection, and it goes over the crossbar, and a goal kick to Georgia. Yeah, the number 3 who opened the scoring got a hold of that one, maybe a little too well, and only a matter of inches over the bar. Bashlashvili now down the right for Georgia, approaching the D, again tackled by a swarm of Russian defenders. But Bashlashvili goes back to the halfway line, using the kickboard in front of the dugout, shoots from distance into the shins of the Russian defence, and it breaks for Shalayev over the halfway line, left-hand side, now drifts inside, past the halfway line, approaches the broken line, edge of the D. He's already got a hat-trick, has to go back and pick the ball up. He's tackled by the Georgian defence, who bring it out up to halfway. It's Maglashvili over the halfway line, goes to ground, nothing given, and now it's Russia on the attack. The game's very stretched, ball forward is poor, and that's just going to run through for a goal kick.
And it will be Mandaria, all in black, to throw it out towards the right-hand side. And once again, only 1 man on the end of that. That's Bashlashvili. Cannons off the kickball behind him, though, on the far side. And ricochets in towards the Russian half. Bashlashvili still battling away against 4 Russian defenders to win the ball back. He will do so eventually on the halfway line. But then Shalayev storms onto the scene and picks up possession. Bursts over halfway, checks inside from the left-hand kickboard. Now towards the near side of the area. And Egorov, right-hand corner of it. He's got his back to goal. Tries to turn past the man in his back, which is Petriashvili, the biggest of the Georgian defenders. Egorov goes on the outside of him, on the right-hand side, then worms his way in field again. Lateral running from Egorov, from right all the way to the far side and the left. Shakarashvili now moving on towards the far side to win the ball back. Then he's tackling his own Georgian player at the moment. Real lack of communication from Georgia, who just kicked the ball clear over the halfway line to no one in particular, and it rolls through harmlessly to Anton Yakovlev, the Russian number 1. He just overarm throw with the right hand towards the near side. Shakarashvili coming onto the near side to try and win the ball for Georgia. It's not successful. It's Egorov instead, who just plonks it with the left foot down the centre, trying to search for Shalayev, who was just stood in front of the goalkeeping square there in a central position, but it just evades his right foot and goes out of play for a Georgian ball. Mandaria bowls it towards the near side, the left. Bashlashvili searching for a second goal. Goes over halfway, a bit too eager there, and I think he actually outran the pace of the ball, and he stepped on it with his heel, and it goes behind him and all the way back towards the Georgian stopper, who bowls it out towards the right-hand side. It's won on halfway by Shalayev for Russia, though. Coming towards the centre, he's got 3 red shirts in front of him. He's going to go alone. Down towards the right-hand side of the area. Shot comes in low. It goes off the knee of the goalkeeper and in. Another howler from Irakli Mandaria in the Georgian net. real scrapbook of errors for him, then I'm sure it's a scrapbook he'll be wanting to throw into the trash can. As Shalayev got to the right-hand side of the area, he hit it low with the right foot, more or less straight at the goalkeeper, who went down onto his knees. It hit his right knee and squirmed into the far corner of the net. It's a super 8 for Russia. They lead by 8-1 and a 4th goal of the game for Shalayev.
Yeah, 8 for Russia, 4 for Shalayev once again from the right-hand side of the D, going across the goalkeeper, who managed to get a touch on it. At the other end, it's Bashlashvili's shot goes wide of the near post. And again, I agree with you, Jonathan, regarding the goalkeeper. Maybe should have done slightly better. Here's that man Shalayev again on the left kickboard inside the Georgian half. Comes across to the right, squares it to Iganov, who just lets it come off the board. Goes to ground after a collision with Shaklashvili. Screams out in agony as well as he goes to ground. Looks like he just caught the shoulder of the Georgian number 11. So it's going to be a free kick to Russia from around about 9 metres from goal. Couple in from the right-hand kickboard. This could be the 4th team foul for Georgia.
Bit of confusion here with the officials. I think they're trying to work out whether it's a 5th team foul or a 4th team foul, because on the scoreboard it would signify that this would be a 4th team foul for Georgia, but the official on the far side put up the red card which had the number 5 on it. So the officials are just going to cross to the far side and communicate that as to whether or not it's a 4th or a 5th foul, and eventually the number 4 is put up, and clearly 4 fingers also put up by the other official in black on the far side. So it will be a Russian free kick in from the right-hand channel, midway between the broken line and the edge of the penalty area. It's a 4-man Georgian wall, and interestingly, it's a bit like a xylophone. They're sort of going up in height order there, the Russian wall from left to right, with the goalkeeper in the net, Mandaria, ready and waiting for the shot towards his goal. Behind him is the Russian guide, who is Vitaly Budikin. Just tapping the post either side. He's got the thumbs up now. Shalayev strides towards the right corner of the box. This time equal to it is Mandaria, who thankfully for him palms away from his goal this time around towards the near kickboard. Shalayev back to goal, being forced away towards the broken line. Running inside now, Bashlashvili hurriedly scurrying in his back and manages to win possession as well. It's a heavy touch from him, and he charges in with so much momentum there into the defender for Russia, Nikolaev, and Bashlashvili is down on the ground. The referee surely has got to stop play here. Does eventually. He's must be winded Bashlashvili there, and I was wincing, Pete. As soon as he did that big touch, you just knew that he was going to charge in at some speed into the opposition defender, Nikolaev, who's not the tallest player anyway. He actually went down on one knee to receive the ball. He certainly did not know what was coming in his direction. Bashlashvili still laid on his back on the far corner of the Russian area, away to my left-hand side. The Georgian coach, Ilya Kiplashvili, is poised with his water bottle once again. I don't know what's inside it, but it seems to be some sort of magic water bottle for Georgia. Bashlashvili's gone off the pitch on the far byline, and the officials just directing him to go round the back of the advertising boards, and Russia once again will be playing against 3 Georgian defenders momentarily.
Yeah, I think he just got a bit winded. One thing, the referee was straight on the scene and stood there, and was no panic at all. He knew that the player will get to his feet, and it's just a temporary injury, and he's gone off the field. There's only 4 minutes remaining. 8-1 Russia lead, 4 each in terms of team fouls. Bashlashvili is over on the far side now, just having a conversation with his coach, and I think he'll come back on. He's that sort of person. It's going to be a restart for Georgia, just with the 3 outfield players. And here comes Bashlashvili once again onto the field, holding his ribs. And he'll be the intended target for this rollout. In fact, it's rolled short to Shaklashvili. Plays it down the right nicely for Bashlashvili. Controls inside the centre circle. Lovely back heel, and he's going to try and chase his own back heel down the left-hand side. Just slightly overrun it, out for a Russian goal kick. So 3 points to Russia will send them top of Group B. Long throw out by Russia, downfield. Tries to find Erganov, who's on the edge of the D. Controls well on one knee. Turn, shoot, right foot. It takes the deflection. Controlled by the goalkeeper with his feet. and just stops it from going out to this goalkeeping square and rolls to that man again, Bashlashvili down the left. On halfway, drifts to the centre, inside the centre circle, good close control, past 3 defenders, down the right-hand side, tried a shot from all of 12 yards, and it goes harmlessly wide of the near post for another restart for Russia. This time over on throw, down the left, off the kickboard, controlled by Shaliev. Drifts inside into a more central position. Shaliev picks up pace, past the broken line, goes back to the left, now into the D, and into the back of the net. Goal for Russia, and Shaliev once again bundles his way into the goalkeeping square. Took his shot beforehand. If he went into that square and then took his shot, it wouldn't have been allowed. But here, Shaliev just takes strike on goal outside of the square, and it goes past the goalkeeper into the back of the net. A lovely slalom run by the Russian number 8, and it's 9 for Russia.
Double figures as well in the game here, 10 in total, and as Shaliev took that towards the edge of the area, he just collided with the goalkeeper almost, who was keen to close down the ball as soon as possible. It's frustrating for the keepers, not allowed to that 2-metre rectangle, and therefore they have to make sure that they keep at bay. Meanwhile, Bashlashvili going for the rainbow flick once again. The novelty's somewhat wearing off, I think, every time he does it. Again, it doesn't succeed, and it goes out of play towards my left-hand side for a Russian ball. A replay of the goal once again, and he just gets the touch outside of the area before dragging his foot into the area with the sort of momentum of the shot taking him into the box. But it's a 5th goal for Shaliev. We said before the game, Pete, that he does deserve a goal or 2. He's got 5 in one game now.
Yeah, I don't know about the novelty wearing off of the old rainbow flick. I'll see more of them in blind football, to be honest. And, well, we've got 3 more minutes to see if Bashlashvili can do any more. It's over the left-hand side for Russia, and that runs out of play. And it looks like it will be a corner to Russia on the left. So a chance for Russia to get into double figures. Shaliev actually has been replaced, so he's off the field. So I think for him, that's his day's work done. It's just going to be the 5 for him. A fantastic 5 for Shaliev. And we mentioned, as Jonathan said, deserves a goal for his performances. But I wouldn't have thought he would have got 5 today. Fantastic performance. The man and the main goal scorer, really, Igorov. He's only got the 2. He'll be looking to correct that, but it's with Tikhonov who opened the scoring. 8 metres from goal, central position, but again, 4 men who have still on the field for Georgia. Another thing I thought might not happen. Here comes Bashlashvili, tries to tackle Tikhonov inside the centre circle. Ball down the right, runs out for a restart for Georgia, with just over 2 minutes remaining.
Yeah, I thought that must have been a corner there. They definitely took a deflection. The Russian guy behind the goal said it as well, but it doesn't really matter for Russia. They've got 9 goals. They don't need any more, surely. Big win, though, for Georgia in terms of they will have a game ending with 5 players on the pitch. Tikhonov on the left-hand side, working his way laterally from left to right, shoots right-footed in towards the far corner of the net. And Mandaria managing to just punch it over the crossbar with 2 paws, and it goes out of play on the far side for a Russian corner. I mentioned how Mandaria, the Georgian keeper, has done a few howlers in this game. He's actually wearing like bike gloves. He's got sort of the ends of the gloves cut out and his fingers are poking through it. So it's not exactly the most apt goalkeeping wear, but he's gone for it. Apparently my director used to play with gardening gloves. Well, I think they would have been better for Mandaria than the gloves he's been wearing today. Agorov coming down the centre, just on the edge of the centre circle, charging forward towards the 3 red shirts in front of him. Then goes out to the right-hand side of it, shoots on the angle, another goal! And Russia, the first team in these 2017 Blind Football European Championships to get 10 goals in one game. And it's a hat-trick for Denis Agorov as well. Of course, he'll be overshadowed by the 5 scored by Evgenii Shaliev, but no doubt another wonderful solo goal from him as he manages to get his way onto the right foot of the area and then strike it into the far corner of Mandaria's net. Mandaria's actually got a wry smile on his face.
Silence, please.
I certainly wouldn't be smiling if I'd conceded 10 goals. Bashlashvili now running down the other end. He's trying to get a goal for his performance today. And then a little kick out, I think, you know, Agorov as he goes down. And the referee being very kind to Basilashvili there, making sure that no retrospective action will be taken. Thrown down the right-hand side, Nikita Egorov trying to match what his namesake has done. He goes towards the left-hand side. Can he get a goal? He's forced straight into the kickboard there by Shakarashvili behind him, and then a man going down for Georgia. I think it was one of his own players pushing him in the face there. He's down, clutching his nose. Once again, it's the nose causing Georgia all the problems at the moment. And down on the floor is Bachuk Kaiser this time around, who may have got a bit of blood dripping from it. It's not looking good for him as he gingerly gets back onto his feet. He's in a squatted position at the moment inside his penalty area. The referee just crouched over him, asking if he's okay. And I think the medics, once again, are going to be out with their blue fleeces and red baggy trousers. Sort of like fireman outfit for the referee, for the physio, should I say. They're taking off Kaiser here. And I said the big success of this game would be that Georgia will finish the game with 5 men. They're not going to. So Russia sportingly kick the ball back towards Georgia. Mandari will have it, and Georgia will finish another game with just 4 men on the pitch. It's more than they finished the game with against Belgium the other night, it has to be said. Basilashvili running down the right-hand side. Tikhonov gets it just inside the Georgian defensive zone. And is that a foul by Basilashvili? If it is, it will be his 5th personal foul of the game. Trying to work out which way this free kick's gone here. Has it gone in favour of Russia? The answer is yes. So Basilashvili is going to get dismissed here once again in this tournament. A 5th personal foul for him, and he will be withdrawn from the pitch. And another sad sight for Georgia as their captain, Georgi Basilashvili, who once again writes the scripts with the rainbow flicks, with the fantastic tenacity down the centre, with his passion for goal and his passion for the badge as well. But he will be led off the pitch once again, and Georgia finished the game with just 3 players. So there he is, trudging off slowly towards the railings on the far side, and he will be very frustrated with the ending to this performance. He's managing to keep his cool at the moment, but if I was one of those on the Georgian bench, there aren't many of them, but I'd want to stay away from him. Russia free kick meanwhile. Agorov wanting a 4th, getting towards the right corner of the area. He's back to goal now. He's been deterred from his stride, and Georgia come down the left-hand side with Shakarashvili. So a reminder, there are just 2 players for Georgia outfield at the moment. Shakarashvili going down. He's now chasing Agorov, who runs down the right-hand side. Russia hungry for an 11th. Agorov cutting into the left-hand side. He just gets in towards the edge of the penalty area. It's a free kick for Russia. It's a 6-team foul from Georgia, so it'll be an 8-metre penalty, and this is going to go from tragic to even worse for Georgia. Russia now just choosing who is going to take this penalty, and surely that's not another personal foul from Shakarashvili. I saw a white card there which indicates the personal foul's going up with a number 5 on it, and if that is the case, the game will have to end 30 seconds before it's about to finish. So the big question from the officials, if it does get called off this game, and it's not going to, I don't think, the officials have just, well, they're taking him off. So that means Georgia are going to end this game with 2 players. Now, there's a man injured on the far side. If he comes back on, the game can finish. But at the moment, he's still getting treatment on the far side. So will there be a case of a game decided by default? I think the officials just going to the medics on the far side and deciding whether Bachuk Kaiser is fit to continue. If he's not fit to continue, then Georgia can't complete this match. And the next question will be, will the scoreline be 10-1 or will it go back to the default 6-0? We'll find out from our team of officials who aren't too far away from us in the stand. So a big question here from the officials, will Bachuk Kaiser, the number 8 on your screen at the moment, on the far side receiving treatment, will he be okay to come back onto the field? Now, this is an intriguing question, and he is indeed going to be led back onto the pitch, and whether he's injured or not, whether he's walking wounded or fit and ready to go, he will be back on this pitch, and a sterling effort from him to complete the last 30 seconds of this game, and he may just have saved a bit of not only red face for the Georgians, but a bit of red face for everyone concerned with this game as well. We certainly don't want a game to finish before the end. Now, it is a penalty for Russia from the 8-metre mark, and Tikhonov stands over it. He's looking for his second of the game, and can he get Russia's 11th? So the referee just leading the Georgians away, and the Georgians limping behind the taker of this. So Tikhonov will have, with the right foot from 8 metres out, with the orange boots. He's got hands on hips. He's got his right foot currently on the ball at the moment. He waits for the guard behind the goal just to tap at the post. The guard behind the goal for Russia is Vitalij Budikin in a bright blue tracksuit top with white sleeves and navy blue tracksuit bottoms as well. So Tikhonov strikes it right-footed into the top corner of the net. Nothing that the goalkeeper Mandari could do as it went into his top left corner. Another goal for Russia, who this time aren't even celebrating. They're just trudging back into their own half. Will there be time for a 12th in this game? I don't know. The biggest ever win in an international game was 12-0. This will be the biggest ever win in a European Championships. 11-1 to Russia. And a really good strike from Tikhonov. You have to give him credit there for the thumping strike. And one interesting question we got during the England-France game yesterday on the live stream was, why are the goalkeepers sighted? That's surely not fair for the players. Well, when you've got power like that in your right foot, like Tikhonov there, doesn't matter if you're a sighted goalkeeper or not, you're not saving it. And Georgia, with their 2 players outfield, both stood over the ball at the moment, will take this centre and they just kick it forward with Kaiser. That's all they can do towards the goalkeeper. And Russia want a 12th now. They're down the left-hand side. Agorov. He switches it laterally towards the right-hand side. A square ball to his namesake, Nikita Agorov, just over the halfway line. Right-hand side, near side as we look. Comes in towards the penalty area. Dead central position, shoots left-footed. And the full-time whistle has blown. Once again, Georgia losing the game. But you have to say, it's certainly never boring watching them, is it? 11-1 is the score that Russia win by in the end. How do we round this one up then? Shalayev with 5 goals. Agorov with a hat-trick. He missed a penalty as well in the first half. Ivanov scored. Tikhonov scored from the spot. In the first half, he opened the scoring. He closed the scoring as well from the spot. Wedged in between that, Georgi Bazilashvili scored, the captain for Georgia, managing to score a great solo goal from the kickoff earlier in this half. However, the 5 Russian players finishing the game shaking hands with the official. A good moment as well for the sport with Julia Kabau, the first ever female referee in an international tournament. But it's a resounding success for Russia. They win by 11 goals to 1. Georgia once again finish a game with less than the starting 5. Bazilashvili with another set of 5 personal fouls sees him leave the pitch. Thankfully, our graphic has this on the screen has enough room there for the 11 Russian goals. They triumph in this one quite handsomely by 11 goals to 1. And quite a staggering statistic as well, with Russia 44 shots in total, Georgia managing to get the 22. But the only scoreline that matters at the end of that is Russia winning this game by 11 goals to 1. Very soon we'll round up that game in the studio with Alan March alongside Pete Selby. But for now, it's Russia singing on top of Group B. They win by 11 goals to 1. And I can now cross over to the studio with Alan March and Pete Selby.
Well, it doesn't make great reading for Georgian fans. Peter Selby, 11-1 in the end, all the ones, and the wrong column for Georgia. Shalayev getting 5 altogether. We've had a 7 from Satay of Turkey a little bit earlier in the tournament, and now we've got a 5 from Shalayev as well. So we'll have a look on the screen in a couple of moments at the highlights. Pete Selby, another good battling performance from Georgia. They're just lacking the quality of some of these bigger teams here who are ranked in the top 8.
They are. They've only got really 2 men going forward. One of those weren't playing, Margashvili, who was out with a swollen ankle. But it was Bazilashvili with his rainbow flicks and real battling performance. Managed to get a goal. And I did say before the game that I think he will score today. The problem is for Georgia is that they only had the 5 players, so they can't substitute players when they're injured. Bazilashvili, the walking wounded along with everyone else, and they were getting frustrated motivated. And the one thing that's happened in this game that didn't happen in their previous matches is that they conceded plenty in the first half. So the shoulders went down, the goalkeeper lost a lot of confidence, and that's why they conceded so many goals, because the keeper will be unhappy with, I reckon, roughly half of the goals conceded.
I think take the indiscipline to one side. I think there's a few managers here and the other national teams that would be interested in Basalasvili for his skills alone. Let's take a look at the highlights of the second half then. And Georgia, well, straight out of the traps and looking to do some damage. Look at that, straight from the start.
Well, he had plenty of opportunities to score straight from the start, Basalasvili, because of the goals that they conceded. And every single time, he just tried exactly the same tactic, run straight towards goal, bundling past players. And what he did on a number of occasions was not take a shot in time, and it ran through to the keeper. This time, he just gets his shot off in time, only inches from the goalkeeping square, and then bundles his way through and into the back of the net. A thoroughly deserved goal, not only for Georgia, but especially for himself.
So battling from Basalasvili. We'll show you a few more of the Russian goals. Shalayev in the end ending with 5, Pete. And it was quite funny, we talked at the beginning of the game how they hadn't got a hatful of goals in any of the games so far, a 0-0 and a 2-1. We discussed that they really did need quite a few in this game to give themselves a good plus column in those goal scoring, and they've managed it.
Yeah, by far the easiest game that they've played. They've played against the defending champions Turkey, beating them by 2-1. They've drawn against a very powerful Spanish side, and now they're expecting to get 3 points and plenty of goals against Georgia. They've done that. And Shalayev, we mentioned on commentary, myself and Jonathan, regarding this player, very good close control. Really, he covers a lot of ground, Shalayev, and we're surprised he maybe didn't get a starting berth in many of the games. He might do now after scoring 5.
Well, 5 for him. Igorov with a hat-trick as well. Let's take a look at the league table now. How does that affect it? Well, Russia go top and they're now on to a +11. We talked about the fact that Turkey already had +13, and it might come down to being very important at the end of this group stage. 7 points for Russia, 6 for Turkey, and now the emphasis is back on Spain to start winning games.
It is, and Russia have got their destiny in their own hands. If they beat Belgium in their final game, which is tomorrow, the first game tomorrow at 11 o'clock local time, then they will go through to the semi-finals, and then it could be a mouth-watering game between Turkey and Spain to see who follows them through. Obviously Belgium will have something to say about that. They've been slightly disappointing so far. Yes, they've beat Georgia in a real strange game by winning by 5-0 with plenty of players going off the field for Georgia. But so it's not going to be a walkover for Russia against Belgium, but I'll fancy them to beat them and go through as group winners.
Whilst Russia might be happy, we've got a man in our studio now who should be, we'll see in a minute, England head coach John Pugh. Happy so far?
Yeah, we've been pleased with our performances so far. Yesterday was pretty a special performance for us, but we're not getting too far ahead of ourselves. You know, we know that Italy will be a difficult game today. They've got a lad up front who seems to be banging in lots of goals, and we've got to make sure we prepare right, and we are going to prepare right. So.
Yeah, we were talking ourselves about Pauliobo, who looked a massive threat throughout the game for Italy.
Yeah, Pauliobo, he's the young 15-year-old superstar for Italy, and is he the main man to look towards stopping for an England win?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, blind football is all about scoring goals, and when you've got someone who's a main threat like he is, you know, you can't just go and try and get as many goals as you can, like a lot of the teams do. So you've got to set up right. You know, we're going to look at our defence first, and then we're going to try and get forward and try and isolate some of their slower defenders that they've got at the back.
There was nearly 1 million people watching the game against France, and many of the comments were regarding the number 9 for England. Who is that number 9? Where is he from? How has he got so much skill? Just talk a little bit about Roy Turnham.
Well, Roy's a hard-working player like everyone else. He's come into the system around 2010 from athletics, and actually wasn't a very good footballer at all, if I'm honest. But he trains a lot on his own, and he really does put positive spin on how you can get into blind football and become a really good player from pretty much not a football background, you know. And we're all excited to have him in our side, and you know, he plays very well. I actually didn't think he played very well in the first game against Romania, and I told him that, so I think he had a point to prove.
That's why he's on the bench.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's a performance sport. You know, we've got to have the right players playing in the right games, and you know, unless they perform at a high level, we've got to look to change it around a bit. And you know, when he come on, he showed what he's all about.
So we've seen England teams over all sorts of levels have great success in this summer. Are we about to add one more trophy to that?
got a big game against Italy today. Really not going to get ahead of ourselves. We did this in 2015. Thought we were going to go on and win the competition and come up against a really strong Russian side who you can see are probably the favourites of the competition for my reckoning. So beat Italy tonight, get a good performance against Germany tomorrow, and then we'll look forward after that.
John, thank you very much for joining us, and good luck in your career as a politician after football as well. Right, let's take a look at the group table that England are currently in. They are top, 6 points, plus 13 goal difference above Germany. A victory over France by 7 goals to 0 for England last night, as Peter was saying, viewed by over 1.2 million people at one point over Facebook. A fantastic achievement for the sport itself. Plenty more games to come here on day number 5 of the IBSA Blind Football European Championships. Next up here in our coverage is Romania versus France. As you can see, it's just under 40 minutes away from kickoff. So for now, we'll sign off, and we'll be back with you in a little while.